Boot up Windows XP, log into your MySpace and record a video about how we all need to leave Britney alone. We're going back to 2007. That was my first year of high school, where camera phones were in a crisp 140p, and I spent most of my time on the PC playing Flash games on Newgrounds, or buying GFs in RuneScape. Also Halo 3, that's pretty cool. This is We Know Kino. I'm Sebastian. With me as always, the other voices in your ears, Bex.
Hello.
And Steve.
Here.
Today we're discussing Diary of the Dead, George A. Romero's fifth entry to the Dead Saga. Or you could say we're watching Jason Creed's The Death of Death.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Also, check us out on Spotify if you listen to us on YouTube, or YouTube if you're listening on Spotify. I just got told out a message right now, just as we were getting ready to record, to mention that early because it's a good thing to do.
You know what? It is good to mention the plugs early. Yeah, that's a good idea. We all stream, guys. We're all zombies. Mm-hmm. You should check us out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're talking Diary of the Dead. We made it so far.
506.
I am so excited to be talking Diary of the Dead, guys, because I love this film, and I was really scared when we were going through the other films, which, guys, check them out if you haven't listened to them. We've got podcasts on all the previous zombie Romero movies. I was worried that this was going to be really low on the list after watching those, but I still love it. And you know what I did right before stream, because I've been dying to know you guys' opinions? I couldn't hold it in anymore. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to check out their letterboxds because I can't wait for the podcast. And I went, and neither of you have your letterboxd on this.
Mine is done as of 20 minutes ago.
I've started to do it as we release. If we release the episode now, then I post my.
So I can't see spoilers, basically.
No, it was for. I know Steve's been keeping up with his, so I was like, right, I'm not posting the stuff anymore, so he doesn't know how I feel going into a recording beforehand. So I've kept it now.
Yeah.
I do like it, but I was just so curious. Well, you guys, first thoughts before you know. Oh no. Guys, we're gonna have different opinions on this, so it might be interesting.
A little bit divided.
Best way to explain mine is the first watch went smoothly. Okay, I was like, this is an interesting idea. I don't mind it. And when I got to my second watch, I was like, I fucking hate this film.
No. Don't watch it. Don't double dip, Bex.
I had to put. This is no joke. I had to pause the movie 4 separate times to get up and just move around during the second watch through. I was like, right, get up, stop watching it. We'll come back to it. Because I was being way too mean in my notes.
Really? That's good.
I was taking it apart in my notes. I literally could see it in my paragraphs. I was like, this is getting really bad now. Just get up for a minute.
I'm going to be saying lots of nice things, so you counteract me with some meany things, please. Yeah.
I will. Steve, how did you feel?
This movie made Land of the Dead seem like the Oppenheimer of zombies.
I literally thought the same thing. It's not Seb. Like and you know what? This is nothing against you. Watching it in my head, I go, I know Seb's gonna still love this fucking thing. I know he's going to love it.
It's like when I watched Longlegs and I was like, Bex is gonna fucking love this shit.
Like, I was like, at one point, the found footagey parts of it got very found footagey. I was like, Seb is going to love this, and he's not going to be happy that I don't.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? I had to get used to this because the entire world hated this film. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just me and George A. Romero, and now he's sadly gone. Rest in peace, George.
You are the one sole Diary of the Dead fan left on the planet.
You know what, as well, right? Land of the Dead was very hard to find stuff like content that other people had done. This was nearly impossible.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, so I was looking for other people's reviews. There's like 5 on YouTube that all call it dog shit, and that's about it.
Twitter had nothing, like not even art or anything drawn of any characters, nothing.
These are my opinions because nobody else has any fucking opinions on this film. We might be the only YouTube channel with anything nice to say about this movie, to be honest, as well.
Yep.
1/3 of us.
I don't know if you guys know the YouTuber Ryan Hollinger, makes some fantastic horror videos.
It's familiar.
He's Irish. He talks about some niche horror movies as well. And he said that this was the worst found footage movie of all time. And I was like, oh, Ryan, why you do this to me?
I do know.
The name sounds like someone recommended to me before, like the algorithm and stuff.
This movie has so little things made about it that when I checked its IMDb, that YouTube video was like quoted in there, right? Like, because that's how little videos are made on it. Maybe We Know Kino can get onto the IMDb of Diary of the Dead.
Dude,
imagine.
That would be nice.
That would be
the one video that's 1/3 positive about this movie gets onto the official IMDb page. Like you just get like the actor who played like Jason Creed checking out your Twitch channel and be like, hey, I'm glad to find a fan.
Talking about that, I was scrolling through YouTube one day and all of a sudden pops up one of the twins from Breaking Bad was just streaming himself playing Dead by Daylight. I was like, what the hell? And he had like 2 viewers, and I'm like, what's going on? Let me check this guy out. They do like
so many cameos as well. It's so fucking funny. They just say it's the same as fucking Dean Norris as well. Every time I see a
Dean
cameo
Norris
of
is
him,
hilarious. I love Dean Norris.
Like Skibbity and Riz and everything's like, you're not in this. You should be doing this crap.
He's on Fiverr or something, so people are getting him to say all sorts of
funny.
Shit. Gus Fring, what's it? Giancarlo Esposito. He's
That is wild.
Anyway, back to Diary of the Dead. We're going to break this movie down. We're going to talk about our opinions, our thoughts. We're going to talk about the movie's ideas that it's putting forward. And we're going to have a good time. No matter how we feel about it, we are going to have a good time today.
Yeah.
So... Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
First off, we normally talk about our personal histories, don't we?
Yeah.
So I think for me, I had watched Shaun of the Dead, and I was like, this movie is fantastic. I was going into my first year of secondary school, high school, and the film showed like late night. This is maybe my first or second year, late night on Film 4, and my mum was like, switch to Film 4. Hey, you like zombie movies, I'm going to bed. And I was just left alone with this film on the TV, and I would just instantly fell in love with it, right? And that's still me to this day. I still love this, and I'm really excited. When I was watching it, I was like, oh no, this is still just for me. You guys, do you guys have any personal histories with it? You don't, right? Because
did you see or know this at all? See beforehand?
No.
Have you guys heard about this beforehand?
No. I knew very little about this one going into it. Where with land, I looked pictures and the posters, so I had no idea about this one.
It did have a limited release. Like, I don't even know if this is in the cinemas, like over here or over where you guys are.
Yeah,
like,
no, I do not ever remember this. Like, and I remember Shaun of the Dead, the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead being massive over here.
Yeah,
like in terms of like advertising for the local theaters, but nothing with this.
Land of the Dead had a huge release as well. In fact, Land of the Dead, I was looking at the box office. It had fantastic box office. I was like, what? I was like, how? It did amazing. It made lots of money. Apparently not enough money straight away for them to make a sequel straight to Off Land, but it made lots of money eventually. Yeah. I'm a big fan of found footage movies. Is this the first found footage movie we've covered on the on the pod? Yeah. So I love Wreck, I love Cloverfield, I love Afflicted, the VHS movies. I love all of that stuff. I love the genre. How do you guys feel about found footage?
If it's done right, it can be good.
Wreck is one of my all-time faves.
Yeah, Wreck is fucking awesome.
Wreck is one of the best.
I used to think The Blair Witch was one of my all-time faves, and I watched that recently, and it did not hold up.
It's awful, isn't it?
It is terrible.
I watched it like last year after not watching it for years, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is not good."
The impact of Blair Witch is nearly bigger than the movie is at this point, though.
Absolutely.
That's what I'll give that.
Like what it started, yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Like, he can point its finger at a lot of movies that came afterwards, but it is kind of a slow, sludgy, boring movie now.
The Cloverfield ARG that came out, was happening before. It's all right. That was happening before the movie came out. Was way more interesting than the actual movie. And 10 Cloverfield Lane's ARG, like they made like a game that you could follow, like a real life game that you could follow before the movie came out and get clues about the film. That was really exciting before 10 Cloverfield Lane came out. I remember being excited about those. But yeah, those I like found footage.
It's interesting. Like it's a cool idea to have the weird way of watching it from somebody that's in the movie recording instead of it being like watching it like a normal movie. It's just a lot of movies make it really messy. The camera work starts fucking getting shaky and falling all the time, so you're not even getting to see half the shit.
Yeah, the found footage genre is not often the best looking, right?
No. And that's what pisses you off, though, because then you don't get to really see or enjoy what's happening. That's true.
It's either overly shaky or you don't get a good view of what's happening, or the monsters. Yeah. Like in Cloverfield, I used to like freeze. I used to pause just so I could get a good look at the monster because we're never actually going to see that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Diary of the Dead looks very nice, I think. No,
I don't know. I don't like the camera work isn't awful. It's not like you're sitting around watching a bunch of people running and shaking and stuff. It looks like a movie that's made with very little money, though.
That's because it was.
But that's like it comes across like that entirely.
Do you know what it looks like? This is Adam Sweeker doing the cinematography, by the way. It looks like a very well-produced student film to me.
And I think that's its intention, isn't it? Like, of course, it's like a college project movie sort of thing, or what starts off as.
I just gotta like close my window because somebody started cutting the grass outside. Oh, I'm in complete darkness now. There's barely any grass. I say this like every week, and always somebody's managing to cut some grass.
Yeah, like it's to give it some plot. It's like a lot of the footage that's shot, beside like in Diary, is relatively kept in frame, and it keeps focus on the action. But then there are some scenes where obviously they're moving erratically, or the camera's like flying all over the place, and you're just like, especially for people who might get like nauseous or anything like that. Is motion sick.
I don't feel like, I mean, people will tell us, right? I get that sometimes, but I never got that with this film.
Okay.
I never got that with this film.
One scene I'm surprised you didn't get it with. In the hospital at one point, just jumping the gun a little bit, where there's the shakiness effect on some of the stuff he's looking at.
Yeah.
I'm surprised neither of you have said, "Oh, I hated that." It was like really weird because it's on the same levels of like just disorienting fucking like camera shit.
Mm-hmm.
In the hospital, there are lots of like almost spinning shots.
Like,
and I guess that's kind of to hide the cuts.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You do those things to hide the cuts, because a lot of this movie was like real long form takes because it's found footage, and George actually, for the cast, he hired a lot of stage actors so they could remember their lines and go for long periods of time without having to cut. Yeah,
makes kind of more sense.
Yeah, and they're all kind of, there's a bit of melodrama in there, the way they're acting and stuff like that. It's it's there because they're stage performers. But I do like how this film brings us back to what I would call a strong group with a cast of characters that I quite like them all, even though they're maybe not as fleshed out as, say, like Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead. But I really like this group, especially after Land of the Dead, where the character I liked the most was Cholo, the bad guy. This guy is a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who would be your favorite character that was in the group then?
In this group? I really like the teacher.
Yeah, he was my favorite.
I love the teacher. And you know what? As much as I dislike Jason, the main character, I really like Jason too. Like just as a character, not as a person.
Yeah.
As a character, I think is really cool. This film also, to me, does a pretty cool job at like the world building. It's a road trip movie essentially, but like even through its found footageness, we're still going to be cutting between our protagonist and like footage that's been scraped off the internet and radio sounds, so we're never like stuck in one location.
Yeah.
And it has like it in budget it feels smaller than Land of the Dead, but in scale it feels larger to me because of that, and because we're going across the country, and it's using the same techniques as like even Night of the Living Dead, where it's like, okay, we're stuck in one place, but we've got a radio, we've got the TV, and then we can see the outside world from that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, if anybody likes reading, or the idea of like people moving place to place and seeing how different areas deal with the zombie outbreak, definitely read World War Z, or check out the Zombie Survival Guide, because those books absolutely slap. Have you guys read those or listened to the audio books? The audiobooks are so good. I love those, and I've read it as well. Oh yeah, and The Living Dead, of course. The George A. Romero's novel is just like the best. I gotta plug it every time. It's so good. So George said in an interview, this is by DP30, that what is so good about having the Dead franchise is that whenever he has something new to say, he can kind of like slap zombies on it and make a film. This becomes really apparent in his next movie, Survival of the Dead, but in this one kind of as well, where I don't know.
Wait, are you saying the next one is the very apparent one? Because
yeah.
This one, out of all the, so far in my opinion, out of the 5 movies, felt like he had his fist clenched up and it was sticking it down my throat what he was trying to say in this one. It wasn't very subtle.
No, he kind of throws subtlety out the window with this one, doesn't he?
Like with the other ones, at least, you know, like I always say it, I never really catch the deeper meaning until I look into it and look for it. I think there's 36 minutes into this one and I have a note written down. I was like, okay, George, I know what you're saying. It's okay.
Well, to get what George is trying to say, I've got some quotes here that I can get to. Okay. So he spoke about how the messaging of this, the idea was that there was this blogosphere that everybody suddenly had the capability and wanted to become a reporter, right? And we've kind of grown up with this. To people who are like in the generations like before us, like the internet was like new, right? And it was new to us as well because we kind of grew up as it was starting, right? But all of a sudden, everybody had access to like cameras, camera phones, there's webcams, there's information being spread across blogs, and this was never the case before, right? We all stream and we'll like report or talk about media stuff that's happening in the world to our audiences like all the time. You know, we talk movies and shit. I mean, this as well. We talk about what new stuff is coming out and what we like. So in a way, he kind of was tuning into what he thought was going to be the next big thing, and he was right.
Right.
Yeah. You get me? So he's got a quote here. He said, "The danger is if you get on there and you're a fairly forceful, dynamic, charismatic person, you could be a lunatic and you'll have millions of followers." Right? So that is very like, if you think about InfoWars or any of the Alex Jones bullshit, where it's just, if you're so charismatic, you can be very dangerous because anybody can have their own platform now. That's he again. Dude was early on that, and that's always been the case, just it hasn't been like, being able to be as vocal hasn't been as easy as it is now, and it's always getting easier, right? He also spoke about the idea that you can be helping a cause as well. So he said, being useful in some way, contribute in some way, you know, that's kind of what they're doing in this film. So it's the pros and cons of giving everybody a platform, and he doesn't really stick to one, like, this is definitely a good thing or this is definitely a bad thing. He has bad things to say about both and good things to say about both.
Yeah. There's both sides of it.
Yeah. And that's basically all I have to say before we get into the film itself. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to say before we get into the beats, and I got lots of notes during the beats.
No, I'm
just checking mine. No. My next point is right at the start of the film.
So, right at the start of the film. Okay,
we're good.
All right, I'm gonna try and open my window again because I don't hear any grass cutting or chainsaws.
Steve, I just looked at your letterbox.
Yep.
Oh, dogs fighting. Okay, you gotta tell us now. Tell us now before we get into it. Okay. If it's up, I need to know. What ratings did you two give this film?
Out of 5?
Well, yeah.
Out of the letterbox 5.
If we're going the letterbox like way of kind of like reviewing movies or rating movies, I give it a 1.
Holy shit! Is that the lowest rated movie you've given on this?
No, I give Sausage Party. Pretty sure I give Sausage Party like half a star.
No, out of our podcast, this is the worst movie, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
There's not some secret Sausage Party episode, guys. Don't worry.
No.
Not that you know of.
That is a terrible episode. That's a terrible movie, by the way. It's awful.
Yeah, it's dreadful.
It shouldn't exist.
So 2 sausage parties will equal 1 Diary of the Dead to you.
Yeah. And 3 God dang it. 3 Diaries of the Dead will equal 1 Land of the Dead. Yeah.
That is. You're breaking my heart, Steve.
I'm going back to my villain arc. I'm like, Land. I never doubted you for a second. I was right about you from week 1.
Bex, what's your? What did you rate this movie?
I haven't rated it, but I know what I will be rating it.
Yeah. What is it?
It's a 1.5.
Oh,
it's a 1.5.
But you see, Seb, this is the beauty of this podcast. It's like you're gonna be here and you're gonna be in that movie's corner, and you are gonna be, it's only hope. You're gonna be like, it's like the whole save us Obi-Wan, your only hope. You're gonna save this movie for the people that like.
When I said you're breaking my heart, I was thinking Padme in my head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, like, that is you know what though? We've never had a movie where I think one of us loves it and the other two literally think it's like a 1.5. Like,
I do feel like I'm breaking your heart slightly. I do.
That's okay, but you guys better pipe up and have some.
Yeah,
you better fight me on this then. If this is the case,
I'm so scared because there's literally the opening of the movie. I have a note here going, "Oh, it's going to be like this."
So my note is, I love the opening of this film. So I've got the way the camera's moving around, and then we're shown that it's actually through the lens of the camera crew. It sets the visual style straight away, right? Then we've got Deborah's voice over at the beginning, and I'm saying this really worked for me as a teenager. Being like an edgy teen and hearing her do like. I think the YouTube channel Wow Such Gaming. I watched that. Their video on this, and he said that she sounded like Bella Swan.
Yep.
From Twilight. Whatever. That's her name, right?
Bella
from Twilight. Anyway. Yeah. And I was like, oh well, that makes sense. It's around the same time. That adds up. Yeah. So I could definitely see how her voiceovers are cringe. But they kind of work. She's an art student, right? Trying to be edgy and deep.
Artsy, yeah.
And I'll that works for me. I also I like how we get the cops chatting, and then the camera pans over to the ambulance driver, like just eating a sandwich, and the newspaper, the news presenters talking about like getting an Emmy as well, and it's like a return to the fun, cheesy dialogue that we're used to in these movies, and it doesn't seem as bad as Land for me.
Problem. So to start, right? I'm jumping right into it. Why is it in an orange tint at the beginning, right? Why is this in an orange tint? And I can bring this up not getting a normal answer, because later in the movie, this exact news like fucking section that we have here is shown on a laptop without the orange tint.
It's got like a blue kind of look to it.
It just looks normal. So why is it orange tint?
Because, all right, and I can actually explain this, all right?
Okay.
And I'm surprised that I can explain this. This movie is we're actually watching a mockumentary here. It's less so a found footage film, and it's more of like a documentary style, because Jason was a documentary student before he made his movie, yeah? And so all of the weird editing ideas, you could in a meta way, or in an outside of movie way, you could say, well, this is just George A. Romero thought it would look better, right? But in movie, in story, you could say that Deborah edited it this way, right? Because she edited the movie at the end.
Yeah.
You know? So she could have added an orange filter, and we know that she adds things to it. Like she adds filters to this, and she's color corrected shit, and she is adding her own narrative over the top of it, and like sound effects and stuff. And I think for me, whereas that could all make the movie worse, it makes the movie better as a found footage film, because it's not stuck to the trappings of found footage, and the chainsaw's back outside again. So I'm gonna.
Okay.
I've already now clicked in my head a slight problem. Can this count as a found footage movie if the person in the movie posted the film? It's not really a found footage film then.
Oh, that's true.
It's a
I would say
created
it's
content
been.
film.
The idea was that this film was going to be put onto the web so anybody could find it and then learn from it, right?
And I guess we don't really know. Not going too ahead, but we don't really know the entire fate of all of our characters by the end.
Yeah.
So,
it's dumb that in like Cloverfield that the people who cut that movie together are like the FBI or like the police or some secret service, you know, at the start of that movie. It's like the government or the military have put that movie together to show people. That's what they found. That makes maybe less sense than this. I don't know. I love Cloverfield, by the way. It's great.
Cloverfield's cool.
We've got the bodies on the gurney, like they get up and they start biting paramedics. The police start blasting, and then they realize straight away you got to shoot them in the head. There's chaos everywhere, and then the news reporter, she like stands still as a zombie walks towards her just to eat her, and we get a really cheesy shot of the cameraman being like, "Why is this like happening?" I don't know what he says exactly, but it's real cheese. The opening of this. So we've got Deborah talking over the news footage from the first 3 days of the outbreak, and it's simple and effective world building for me. I always love some news footage and the world ending. That always just works for me as a fan of like apocalypse movies. I think it's cool. Deborah's played by Michelle Morgan. I'll try and say people's names as I remember them.
Okay, yeah, I have all the characters' names, but yeah, except I've one actor's name, obviously the guy who plays Tony, you know, the ever infamous.
Oh yeah. Wait, we'll get to him very soon, and we'll talk about him because Tony's God, I love Tony. Okay, I remember watching like streams about the virus that we've just had plaguing the world, you know, that we had the pandemic and we all had to stay inside. And I remember thinking like, why aren't we hearing about this stuff here? Because for a while there was nothing like in the UK or in England, you know, like that I could find on it. And I remember freaking out being like, what is happening? And I felt crazy because people didn't believe in it, you know? Or that it would reach us. And even though George didn't like live through the pandemic, he definitely was able to like catch a feeling for what it would be like. So I like that. I also think it's fitting that we start with like a news crew being taken out by the zombies, since the film has like themes to do with who you can trust and everybody being able to record.
Is that me? Oh,
What just happened?
Did you guys cut out? Did I cut out?
I think you cut out.
I cut out.
I think so.
I was just talking about how it's like it's fitting that the movie starts with a news crew, and the ideas are that you don't just have to listen to news stations anymore. You know what I mean? Like anybody can be telling the news.
Hmm.
All right. The Death of Death. We made a film. The one I'm going to show you now. Actually, Jason is the one who wanted to make it. fucking Deborah in a monotone voice. The fact that fucking she's called Deborah. It's real corny. I maybe mentioned this before. I went to art school, guys. You know, Steve, you're a film school, Steve. You know.
Yeah.
And they've really captured the pretentious art student vibe in this film, I think. You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
So as much as it's cringe, it's also real. Because people would make their own little movies and they do these horrible voiceovers in this kind of... I probably did this as well, myself. Deborah also explains that the cameras that I used and the music they've added. Sorry, what were you saying?
Steve, I demand you remake this movie and you do the entire voiceover that Deborah does in this.
Shot for shot. Yeah, I'm gonna like my this year in uni. I'm gonna be like the death of death reincarnation. It's gonna be it's gonna be my movie, right? And I'm just gonna like shamelessly, like frame for frame, just imitate this movie. Yeah.
Yes. Could I be the mummy?
You can be the mummy. Yeah.
Sick. So yeah, again though, like I was just saying, Deborah explains what cameras are used, that she adds music to scare the viewers. I'm cutting out. Why am I cutting out? What is happening?
Whatever the start of your sentence was there, you just weren't there.
What the fuck? What is going on? I won't be cutting out on the recording. This will be annoying for the listeners, but not for you guys. Right. Okay, so the listeners get to listen to me say this shit twice, 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, it's all right. It's the idea that it's a mockumentary more than a found footage film. That makes sense. That we've got music and cuts between cameras, and it makes the whole film seem more logical to me, anyway. And rather than taking the narration at face value, it works if you think of it as like a college student trying to sound deep and edgy. Mm-hmm. That's Deborah for me. Whereas, like, yeah, it's cringe, but it would sound cringe. Mm-hmm. So we're going to open up in the Death of Death here, the movie inside the movie, and we get a shot in the woods, and it's a woman in a dress, Tracy. She's played by Amy Lalonde. Is that how you pronounce that name? It's cool anyway.
Yeah.
Being chased by not a zombie, but a mummy.
Yep.
And that mummy's played by Ridley in the movie, but outside of the movie, that actor's called Philip Riccio. Okay. And I really like how meta this is. George has said loads in interviews about how his zombies are slow because they're dead. You know, corpses can't move fast, otherwise their ankles would snap. And that's what Jason, who's the camera guy in this, he's our POV. Do you have his name written down there? Jason's name?
Jason's name.
Jason Creed, obviously, and then played by
Joshua Close.
Joshua Close, that's it. Yeah. They're arguing that the mummy. Ridley's like, if the mummy doesn't move fast, how can he catch her? So this happens in like horror movies all the time. Like Michael Myers never runs, but he's always able to catch up.
People. Yep.
Yeah. So I did like that. That felt a bit like Wes Craven-y dialogue to me.
Yep.
So Tracy starts talking about how girls in scary movies always have to fall down and have their tits fall out as well, and their dresses torn. Again, very screamy, you know?
Yep.
It reminded me of Randy, actually, from Scream, explaining the horror movie tropes. Mm-hmm. And then here we go. Here we are. Sean Roberts is back.
Yep.
He's made it out of the land of the dead.
Yep.
And he's got himself into the diary. Albert Wesker himself.
Yeah.
And this time he's playing Tony.
He's playing Tony.
And he does the makeup.
He's the makeup guy in this project, yeah.
He's got a bigger role in this film, which is nice, because it was tiny.
Cool casting. I like bringing back a character that's in another movie that's not going to confuse me because the timelines already don't line up.
It's a different universe. It's a reboot.
My headcanon is
so fun.
My headcanon is Tony is Mike in Tony changes his name to Mike in Land, which came out 2 years prior, and that sealed his fate.
That would make no sense that he's like new in Land, you know?
Yeah.
But there is a character later, the armed guard guy, who could be the same character in Land, you know?
Oh, that's true, actually. Yeah, now that I think about it. Like, Mum, hear me out. Tony survives. You know, this is like you said, you love movies like this that it kind of showcases the world turning, you know, the apocalypse hitting. So Tony makes it out, and then 20 years in the future, let's say, looks the exact same, but is now Mike. And
he has a head injury and he forgets everything. So he gets a new name.
Diary is a prequel to Land, and we've figured out the sauce.
We have.
This is terrible.
We figured out what George.
We talk about the order of these things every time, right?
We do.
But I must say, George, this is a reboot, right?
Yeah.
This is not in the same continuity as the rest of them.
Right.
And he said that was really good because it's really difficult when you're trying to follow the movies they took place like 10 years apart from each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it started to make less and less sense, especially by the time we get to Land. And they're all talking like people would in like 2005.
Yeah.
But the world ended in like the 70s. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sean Roberts is back. Love that guy. The students are stressed and they're bickering. And we've all been in group projects before. They fucking suck.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So again, he's capturing what it really feels like. And then they've got their drunk tutor who's there. He's played by Scott Wentworth, and he's almost Shakespearean. You can tell that he's the stage performer here as well.
Yeah. Andrew Maxwell is our college professor. Yeah.
Do you think all it takes to sound Shakespearean is just you slur every word?
Slur every word, sound distinguished, and have a little flask of bourbon, just like swing it around like flamboyantly. And I think
I wrote this note down, but I wrote so many notes I capped the word count on this, so I had to like delete a bunch. I also have 2 different notepads up as well. So he's not Irish. He's drunk, but he's not Irish.
Yeah.
How great is that?
George. Thank you, George.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The next movie is all Irish, so Tony says, "Stupid fucking mummy movie" under his breath, and the teacher said, "with an underlining thread of social satire," which again, it's so meta, you know. I think this is
totally not George's fist clenching.
Yeah. I would call it self-aware.
Oh, yes. Well, no, to be fair, at this point I was like, that's kind of funny. You know, George is saying, look, this is what I do. It stopped being funny there.
Okay, that's fair. Well, you tell us the moment when that happens, please.
I will, of course.
Yeah, so they're out of the woods and they start listening to the radio, and it's talking about the dead returning to life. Mm-hmm. This is the first night that the living dead start to rise. You know, we're right
changed.
back. As we said, it's a reboot. We're right back to the beginning. This is like hours in to the dead apocalypse. People all over are calling in reports, like incidents, and Tony thinks it's all bullshit. You always have that one friend who's like, "Nah, the news is bullshit, man. Like, nah, it's all a pack of lies that they're telling you, man." You know, we've got some spooky. They all hear some spooky sound in the darkness in the woods, and Ridley's like, "Hey guys, everybody should go to my place. It's pretty big. It's a fucking fortress. I can't get in unless I'm invited." You know?
Yeah.
One of the girls decides to join him, and they zoom off. I can't even remember that chick's name. I wrote it down at some point, but I don't have it here. She's not really got much to do in this. So
no, that's her only
his girlfriend.
I think it's Riley's piece. Yeah.
Francine is the character's name.
Francine, that's the character's name. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
So We've got 3 other cast members to talk about here. We've got Gordo. He's Tracy's boyfriend, and he's played by Shuila Tate. That's such a cool name. He was also, if you're a big Super Sentai head or Power Rangers fan like me, he played the Blue Ranger in Power Rangers SPD.
I knew he looked familiar.
Power Rangers SPD. Okay, we've got Elliot. He's played by Joel Dinical, and he's the young guy with the glasses. And we've also got Tatiana Maslany in a very tiny role as Mary. You may know her from She-Hulk.
Yep.
She was also incredible in Orphan Black. And she was really wasted in She-Hulk because that's like one of the worst written shows that I've seen. And she's really talented. And you could say that she's wasted in this as well because she's got like nothing to do. Jason says he's going to go get Deborah at the dorm. And then he go, like, it's like a cut and he's walking through the spooky dorm and it's only been 25 minutes since the news broke and everybody's already left, you know? Jason bumps into a guy looting the place. He goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And he's like, "Stealing shit."
I'm just stealing shit, yeah.
I'm just stealing shit. And I was like, oh, that guy's voice sounds so familiar. What's he from? And he played Beast in the X-Men animated series and X-Men 97. And he even looks a bit like Beast. He's got the massive forehead. No offense. No offense. That's a bit mean, actually.
Poor guy is going to listen to the podcast now. Yeah. Drop to his knees crying.
He's a big fan. He's a big fan.
His little exit when he runs away is like somebody running off stage for a pantomime.
Yeah,
he literally runs off camera, and it's not like he runs out of the building. He's just off the camera and is gone. You know. So you know how babies have like whatever's just in their vision is there, and as soon as it's not there anymore.
Yep.
That's a bit like that.
That's this guy. Yeah.
There's another chainsaw outside right now.
Okay.
I hope. This happens every week. I don't understand.
They're just really into it.
It's only ever when we're recording.
Only everyone. Doesn't matter which day. It was Wednesday last week. It's Tuesday this week. It's like Monday the week before.
Yeah.
Listeners, it's a secret Easter egg we've been putting in the back for a movie that includes a chainsaw.
Exactly.
It's all getting us ready for our Texas Chainsaw episode.
Foreshadowing,
Yeah. For that episode, I can leave the window open and we can just have the chainsaw.
We could invite them in.
Tell them to go in the room. Revving the chainsaw in your room, next to your ears.
So Jason finds Deborah, and she can't contact her parents. And the film reminds me of like the early YouTube vlogging days. I don't know if you guys ever did any vloggy stuff like I did. I've been on YouTube since 2005, guys. You know, I've been around, but nearly everything's like deleted or privated now. But my current channel is over 10 years old right now.
Open the videos. Open the videos.
Well, what I do on stream is every anniversary we watch some old videos from when I started. So I've been publishing them over the years. Like last year for Halloween, I published a Slender Tubbies video that I made with my mates, and we're all like 16 with our squeaky voices, and it's really funny. Yeah. So it's like it all captures the nostalgia for me off that time period. And one of my favorite episodes of South Park is the guinea pig episode. I don't know if you guys are South Park fans, but it's very like, oh, I'm so startled. You know, and like the guy with the camera has to like explain what he's doing. I'm walking down the hall now. I'm going to see my girlfriend. I'm knocking on her door. Oh, there she is. This is Deborah. You know what I mean? Like it's very like guy picks up a camera and is trying to do a first vlog. So
it's in Deborah's room where we see the news in normal color on the computer as well.
The footage that's been uploaded to online.
Yes, so that's where he got the footage. That's where Deborah got the footage to put at the beginning of the movie when she was editing it. People have argued that we shouldn't have had that opening and that we should have just had it here.
Oh,
you get me? Because it like works as like in the background. But I like the opening, and I think thematically it makes sense. I tried to tell you guys, but I kept getting cut off. It's the death of like the mainstream news media, right? And the beginning of the blogosphere, as George called it. The idea of calling something a blogosphere is so like old man talking about the internet.
Such a George thing to, yeah.
So Jason and the gang, they're now on the road. They're in the RV. And they've got a plan to like drop everybody off at their homes, and they're all from different places. And I think it's just such a cool like concept for a film, for like traveling across country at the end of the world kind of thing, you know. He's decided that he's going to document what's happening because he thinks it's going to be big. And we found out earlier that he was a documentary filmmaker at college, but decided to make a horror movie for his final project. And it's a bit like how George worked in the newsroom at like, you know, when he was a young man, and then he decided to make his own horror movie with his mates. This is also the part where I realized like the entire cast are Canadian, and then I saw like an interview where George was like, "Yeah, we filmed this in Toronto," and I think he was trying to get Canadian citizenship at this time, just because it was way cheaper to make movies on the Canadian dollar than it was the American dollar, and he didn't want to go through Hollywood after Land of the Dead.
With the problems he had.
Yeah, this is only 2 years after Land of the Dead, by the way.
Yeah, 2007. Yeah.
So
this is the same year Wreck came out.
This is the same year Wreck came out. Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Which is one of the best found footage zombie movies ever made.
Yeah. I watched it again recently.
Cloverfield came out in 2008. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like
Paranormal Activity came out in 2007.
So he was on it with the found footage, right? And as I said, now there's a car alarm going off. As I said earlier, what did I say earlier, guys? As I said earlier, this movie looks really good compared to those films, I think, for being a found footage. I think Rec 2 looks a lot better than Rec 1. Rec 1 is so shaky, right? Even though it's a camera guy in that role as well. Cloverfield is just like an idiot with a camera who's never used a camera before. Paranormal Activity is like a fixed camera situation. You know, and that gets boring. It's a build-up of tension. I get that. And Paranormal Activity 2 is even worse because you have like the rotating camera that kind of like slides to left and right.
Yeah.
So something interesting will be happening, but it's happening like just to the right, and it's really annoying. I think you could make a great Five Nights at Freddy's Paranormal Activity game. Like cut between the cameras and see the spooky thing.
Like us three, we could make that. Yeah.
Oh, we could do that.
No, we couldn't.
Yes, we
could.
Why not? We could do that. That would be so good.
Freddy, Beckham, your Golden Freddy.
I remember watching a horror movie. I mean, there was a few of these. Maybe you guys remember, but it all took place on like a computer screen, and it's just like mates Skyping.
That was one of the later ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Dogwater. Yeah, I remember that movie.
I remember this in like 2010 or something. Like a real.
Was it 2010?
I think this has been done a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying those anyway, even though they were really dumb. Sorry, the chainsaw's getting louder and louder. It's driving me nuts.
It's not coming true though. I don't know if I can hear.
Unfriended was one of the ones that came out in like 2014. It was it went kind of viral. Like
I remember the poster for that. It's like the blonde girl crying.
Yeah.
So what we got? We're all like used to cameras on our phones and people recording everything and constantly uploading everything we do. We're also like streaming ourselves and putting ourselves out there. But at the time, people weren't as comfortable with being just like recorded, you know? Like having a camera like shoved in your face was like, I know it's still uncomfortable now, but it's not as big of a deal as it used to be. Like, or maybe that's just because I'm a streamer, you know. I'm a photographer, so
different bubbles, different.
That's
like,
true. Yeah,
different kind of reactions. Because I know IRL stuff for me. If like we're on a night out and somebody starts taking out their phone, it's the most annoying thing. To be out doing something and their phone is stuck to your face. You know, that kind of way.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
In certain settings, you want your pictures taken. At certain like events, you obviously want to be taking pictures with your friends. But then there's sometimes where you're just out and you're just like, put the phone away and enjoy your night. So seeing everybody else's face doing it.
So like Tony here, he's really pushing back against this kind of like. There's tragedies that are happening, and then there's Jason like, say your name for the camera.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. Anyway, I didn't feel like it would be that annoying to me, but I see your point, and I see Tony's point.
I think in the given setting, like of the movie, there's literally like there's going to be people dying all over the place, and Jason basically has a camera surgically placed to his face. Like that would be. Like,
it's going to get real bad.
Why it's a problem?
He literally is the cause of some people's deaths. Like having that, and we'll get to those very soon, actually. So he's annoying everybody, and they come across their first zombie, and it's like a state trooper at a crashed car, and I think he looks pretty gnarly. It's a pretty good look, you know. We also get the cheesiest and worst, the worst shot of this whole film, and my autocorrector's corrected shot to shit, which also makes sense. So it's Tracy earlier showed that she's got like a flip phone with a camera, and we get this like still camera off the front of the RV just knocking people over like bowling pins.
Yeah.
And it looks so bad.
Yeah.
It's also here, right? So when that state trooper comes out, before they pull the RV up and they see, it's like a wreckage of two cars, right?
Yeah.
And somebody says, oh no, how are we going to get around? The road is blocked. The cars are on the left side of the road. The entire right side of the road is open. Yeah. They drive around the cars with no problem.
Yeah.
But when they pull up, they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? The road is blocked. The entire right side of the road is dead clear. With nothing in the way.
She goes to the right, and then there's all of a sudden like 10 zombies just standing in the road. Why didn't she just reverse?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is when you write something, but then on the day you're not directing it properly, right? Like
No.
you've not thought about
like the way the camera is set. If they'd have left us with like just looking at the left side of the road, you'd have believed it. But you can see the entire right side of the road is dead empty. Like if they'd have just sat on the two cars and been like, oh no, the road is blocked up by these two cars, we can't see a way around it. No, you can see the way around it. Stupid ass. Oh no, the road is blocked.
Tony loses that. Tony goes mental because he's like, we just killed for all we know, we've just killed 3 living, breathing people. And then Mary's just like, no, we didn't. I did. And I'm just
she's
like,
the driver.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this has to be some sort of like relative Riley from Land of the Dead, because I was like, now we've got some edgy dialogue. We got
that is so Riley. Oh my god,
we got this dialogue back, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I was like, yes, thank you. Riley lives on in our hearts, and in the script, whoever wrote this screenplay is just like, yes.
What you're talking about there is when Riley's like, nothing bad ever happened to me, and then somebody finds out his brother died, and it's like, I thought you said nothing bad happened to you, and he goes, yeah, that was to him, not to me.
Oh god.
We're 20 minutes into the movie here, and honestly, we're zooming through this, guys. We've never recorded for 50 minutes and managed to get 20 minutes in. Normally we're like 50 minutes and we've done 5 minutes of the movie. So that's pretty good. We're
getting better. Guys. Yeah.
I don't know if we're getting better. There's fuck all to say about this.
Well, there'll be more to say in a bit. You know, there's more to say coming up. I always feel like a good horror movie sets you up and introduces you to everything in the first 20 minutes. Like that's something I've noticed just watching movies for a long time, especially horror movies. So Jason's being a real dick to Mary. How do you feel about what just happened? You know, shoving the camera in her face, and she's obviously like freaking out and crying that she might have just killed people. Then they all get out of the RV, and Mary goes and sits by herself in the field to pray. Nobody's checking up on her, right?
No.
They all just get outside and start smoking. Teach is worried that he's not going to be able to get any booze.
Yeah, he just wants a bourbon, yeah.
Yep. And then Mary shoots herself. too guilty after running the zombies over, and she thought they could be living. And everybody starts freaking out. And Mary had a gun.
Yeah, nobody even knew.
Nobody knew. Concealed carry. So, she's still alive though, and they got to take her to a hospital.
Yeah, she botches it, doesn't she? She botches.
Yeah, she botches shooting herself in the head, which is a really gruesome thing to do. Yeah, that's rough. The best part about having a world-ending road trip movie is having all the different settings that you can go and visit. Right? So like we've started off in the woods, and then we've got the hospital, and we're going to have a farmhouse, and you know, with the other movies that were limited to like just one location, you had only the farmhouse, or you had just the mall, or you had the bunker, you know, and the city and land is just like a few streets, really, isn't it? So I like that for this. I love road trip movies. I love zombie movies. The hospital setting is also like, it's very Resident Evil, you know. We've got the uni campus as well. That was like Resident Evil 6 opens up in one of those. We just needed a sewer, and then we're hitting all of the notes here though.
Not a fan of sewers. Yeah, we just needed a voiceover of that from somebody.
Fuck off, Leon.
Yeah.
Helena should have been like, what the fuck do you mean I'm not a fan of sewers?
Who is? Like, what the hell? Like the Ratma or something like that? Oh my god.
So they find a radio, and there's people screaming how you got to shoot him in the head. The person saying how you got to shoot them in the head is actually shit. What the fuck's his name? Tom Savini.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Michael Doherty. How do you pronounce that name?
Doherty.
Yeah. It always sounds better with an Irish accent, that name. He was the editor of the film, and he said that they used like real police broadcasts to give it a sense of like a real sense of threat and urgency. Yeah. And Romero said that the broadcasts were from 9/11, and that they added Tom Savini's voice over the top so they could get some exposition in there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that we'll maybe talk about it more later, but being able to mix like the news and tell your own story with it, that's also like one of the themes of this, isn't it? So Gordo has like, he's got the pistol now, and he starts wondering what's going to happen if Mary dies. And then they find a surgeon zombie eating somebody from behind a curtain, and I don't know, it just seems there's a lot of like realness to that, you know, and spookiness to it. So I liked that.
Shout out Greg Nicotero, that's him.
Yeah.
That's Greg Nicotero. Yeah, so he was doing the special effects on this, or he was at least kind of consulting a team who were doing the special effects. And yeah, he was that zombie.
Which is dope, yeah.
Yeah, Tom Savini's not doing any special effects on this one. Apparently he was out of the special, he was more trying to focus on like acting at this point, you know. What are you giggling at?
We lost you from the entire beginning of the sentence.
Really?
Yeah.
What the actual
I could
fuck?
hear it as well, because it was like an ow. As you started to speak, it was like ow.
Is that no? It's not raining.
That's no idea what's good on.
Yeah, people would not be out chainsawing.
Why is my internet just being dog shit? It's maybe my internet. I know when one of the doors closes downstairs that my internet cuts out for some reason. Like, I don't understand why, but it does. Maybe that's the case. I'm sitting in an attic, guys, and there's no lights, and I've had to close the window, and the window's blacked out, and there's a chainsaw outside. It's just the worst. Yeah, the nurse is eating somebody as well, and she comes out from behind the curtain, and Tracy goes, "Dead doctor, dead nurse." Makes sense, doesn't it? In her Texan accent. And I'm crushing on Tracy hard at this point. You know, she's just the best. And the gun's jammed, so what we're gonna do? Deborah grabs the defibrillator and uses it on the nurse's head, and explodes her fucking eyeballs.
Yeah.
That's a great death. That's great. It's
It's
awesome.
great. Shame the CGI is terrible.
I didn't think it was that bad. The
It's
CG.
awful. No, right. I'm calling this. Have a go at all these big movies that are out now, and you can sit and watch this and go, "That looks cool." You can't do it. You can't do it. It looks awful.
It's a tiny budget, and I think
it's terrible. If you're doing a close-up shot with CGI and it looks that bad, you have to do it good.
I think one of the issues is that it's like long form takes with no cuts, right? Or very limited cuts. So how do you do that without cutting away? You know what I mean?
Like edit the bastard thing with better CG.
The Tom Savini way of doing things, we're away from that now, and it kind of it does show. And that was like better, you know. Day of the Dead is just incredible practical effects. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that. I guess you don't like the acid melt in the head then later on.
It's cool, but it looks awful. Like the two of them, the acid melt.
That's fair.
Cool kill.
That's fair.
The
Cool,
eyes
but looks
bursting,
bad.
Cool,
yeah,
but looks terrible.
Cool, but
it
poor
looks
execution.
really bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, and he's mainly known for doing practical effects with shit. So then, now that he's splicing in CGI, which was obviously going to happen because he's modernizing his films, it just looks worse compared to the original trilogy.
Yeah,
everything.
It was for like cheapness as well. I think it'd be cheaper to do. A lot of the time now, if you're doing like a big budget movie, it would often be cheaper to do practical effects than CG.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case, you know, you film your shot and then you just CGI it afterwards, like just some eyeballs exploding. Anyway, I didn't see an issue with it, but that's okay. That's okay. I understand, Bex.
I honestly, I think you're glazing it. I think you're glazing
You think
it.
I'm glazing? I probably
because you're
am
such
glazing.
a Romero fan. Because again, this is the first point where I have a note here, and I was like, this is getting really bad now. Because the eyes popped, and I was like, oh, okay, we've gone away from practical stuff now. We're doing CG, and even the CG isn't able to hold up anymore. Like on Land, there's a couple of CG bits where I was questioning it, but I was like, you know what, it's fine. It doesn't look terrible.
To be fair, most CG in movies from the time period does not hold up now. CG is only... It's very good and it's held up in some really amazing movies, but most movies do not hold up with CG.
Transformers came out the same year.
Transformers also had like a fucking $100,000 budget, I'm pretty sure, right? This is like $100
million, yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure Beowulf came out the same year, so that's an argument for bad CGI.
I've not seen Beowulf.
It's
all good.
Something.
No good. Yeah.
I don't know.
$147 million for Transformers. This is on about $2 million Canadian.
Okay, to bring up an argument on that, then what about Godzilla -1? That's running off of very little money. I know it's more than that, but Godzilla -1 has very, very good CGI for a movie that's running off of very low.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And Godzilla -1 is also, the director is obviously an artist. And you know what? He was actually a CG artist. So he knows how to make the most out of this stuff. This is what he did. He got his start making the CG Godzilla movie for a Godzilla ride in Japan. Like
wow.
Yeah.
What a movie.
Great movie. We'll talk about it eventually, I'm sure. I love that movie.
See, look, now I feel like I've thrown this off track by just saying no, Seb. That's not good.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We can argue about it. Look, we're going along. I'm just worried. I was worried that I'd cut out again. That's what I was worried about.
No, you're good.
I'm conscious of it now, and I'm hearing movement downstairs, and I'm like, what's going on? All right, I'm going to try and open my window again. I'm sorry, this is getting annoying. It's getting annoying for me too.
Trying to figure out what the fuck I'm on.
It's bloody hot, but the chainsaw stopped, so I want to open the window. Okay. All right. Where even were we? The eyes blew up, right?
Yeah, the fib kill. Yeah, kill of the week as
it's pretty metal. We all love it. You know, that's we're all big into that.
It is a cool kill. It's pretty cool.
It's creative. Yeah.
Okay. So Jason stays to get his camera charged while the rest of them all look for help, right? And Jason seems worried that like what he or Tony might have said led to Mary shooting herself, you know? Because like he's like, how did you feel? And then Tony's like, yeah, you maybe just killed real people, you know what I mean? Like living people. And then he hears a scream, but he doesn't run to go and help.
No.
He's too busy video game monologuing to himself.
Put the camera down, bro.
He's actually dreadful. Like at this point,
I should be with them. Maybe I could help.
Yeah.
But I'm plugged in.
Yeah,
he's like fucking Max Payne.
He's Max Payne.
I'm locked in.
So, have you guys seen Civil War yet?
Yes.
No.
Oh, Bex, you need to.
I watched like 20 minutes of it and I didn't get through. I fell asleep. So like not because of the movie or whatever. It was a late night and I put it on, so I was gone.
So that deals with being like war journalists trying to stay impartial and filming. And, you know, if something horrible happens in front of you, you're supposed to just film it. And like, you know, it deals with that idea, you know. This is dealing with it in a less nuanced way. But yeah, that was a great movie that dealt with this. This is I don't know if you'd call it great. So Deborah then comes in and she's got blood on her. She's found another camera, and now we get to see Jason holding the camera because we've got two POV shots. We got two POVs, points of view. And Deborah's really pissed at Jason for being obsessive about filming everything, and she's very justified here. And she explains that there was a nice-looking patient that turned out to be dead, and Gordo saved her. The patient that was being eaten by the nurse, and the doctor now rolls off the bed by them. And we get the guts falling out like we did in Day of the Dead. You know, that same effect. Although obviously not as like zoomed into the details or anything like that. I don't think the same effort is there that wasn't like
it's kind of a quicker shot too. He just kind of flops out the bed and that's it. You don't really get a minute with it.
No, we don't. And then Gordo shoots that guy. The dude is sick with the gun. He's getting headshots. Like
Gordo's just he's just blasting,
yeah, he is. And he's starting to realize how he's now had to kill a few people. And Teach, being a dick, points out how easily it came to him. It's like, it came easy to you, didn't it?
In wartime, killing comes easily. Yeah, he just has another one of his monologues, and I'm just like, yes, more of this, please.
And then I was like, was Teach in the war?
I think he was. I think
was he in a war? What war was he in?
I think he states he was in Vietnam. I want to say. I'm nearly sure he mentions he was in Vietnam.
Doesn't look old enough to be in Vietnam.
No,
I was about to say the same. Like if this movie's based in 2007, would have been in Vietnam.
I was like, and then I'm thinking, is this some Canadian war that we don't know about?
Do Canadians have war? This is supposed to be nice.
I'm hoping that like. I know the movie came out in 2007, but I'm hoping that it's maybe a more of a kind of like it's a campy, cheesy late 90s kind of like era movie where
but then they wouldn't have like camera phones and stuff.
Yeah.
But then Tracy has a flip phone, and I'm just like, well, I know people had flip phones in 2007, so I don't know. I want to justify this guy. I want to imagine this guy in the battlefield just monologuing as he's like double tapping people on the ground, like, and he's just swinging from his bourbon.
Maybe he's just one of those dicks who's like, you know, back in the war, he never went to the war.
But he has a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
He gives Jason Dundee line. Some notes I have here. He gives Jason a lot of shit for recording everything. It's like, what you're doing is you're recording a diary of cruelty, and I'm just like, wow. This movie should have been called Diary of the Cruelty.
There's a line by Deborah in the middle of the whole conversation here as well that I just have noted where she's like, "Oh, if it didn't happen on camera, if it's not on camera, it didn't happen."
Very meta line. It's such a trope line in movies.
To be fair, before we started recording this, we stopped talking about certain things because we were like, save it for the pod.
Yeah, that's true.
That is, yeah.
But that basically, this is the start of me pulling the thread of what George is saying here and be like, okay, George is starting to tell us directly what he's saying in this movie instead of sprinkling it on us like the rest of it. You know, that kind of.
No, I think you're absolutely right here, where it's just so in your face.
Because like the rest of it, I miss all commentary until I dig it like into the movie to figure out what's happening.
So this is your second watch through when you.
Yeah. Like on the first one, I'm just watching the movie on a base level. I'm just taking it all in, like I always do with like these movies. And then on the second one, I started to realize like George isn't even doing the sneaky anymore. He's just saying a sentence and being like, "Now, lads, this is what your movie is. This is what I'm saying." Instead of like in the other movies, it's like
it's the other way around. You take it on a base level, and it's a good movie, and then you go into it again, and it's really good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this one is
absolutely
giving you the like you're not going to sit there and have to think about what George is trying to say. This one is telling you exactly what he's saying.
You check out the underlining thread of of the commentary, like George said at the start of this movie, for like night, dawn, and day, and it's fantastic. It even Land of the Dead at face value, pretty bad movie, but you take what it's trying to say, and then that can elevate the movie a bit.
Yeah, there's enough there. Yeah.
And then this movie, it's not so underlining. It's lining, it's overlining, it's right there, and I'm with you.
It's a little ham-fisted, isn't it? Like,
and it gets very jarring for me later because there's more and more of it, and it's just like, okay, George,
you love like meta movies though, from what I know about you.
This isn't it though. This does too much.
Because too much. Your favorite movie this year was Deadpool, and you also fucking
wrong. It is Longlegs.
Okay, I'm sorry, but okay, I apologize. I thought Deadpool had taken over, but you love Deadpool versus Wolverine.
But there's a humor and there's a reason for that as a character for Deadpool. For this, I'd have rather if a character didn't look into the camera and say it to me.
The American guy, Inspector Gadget,
Ferris Bueller,
McConaughey,
but.
It's not Matthew McConaughey, Matthew Broderick, sorry.
That
would be all right.
I think there's a place, there's a way those movies work. This one, if they hadn't have had like a character looking into Jason's camera and going, "The internet is bad," basically, it would have, you know what I mean? It would have worked a lot better.
I know Red Letter Media, they did a video on this, and they were like, they were doing an impression of George Romero being like, "Can a zombie be a meme? Can a meme become a zombie?"
Our zombie skibbity now.
Oh no! All right, that has dated the podcast more than anything has ever dated the podcast.
Riley just talking to Cholo. We owe them Riz.
We owe them Riz.
Like there's another line here from Deborah. I think it's Deborah, or it's Professor Maxwell. But it's just like it's another very on the nose social commentary line where she just says, or he says, "Don't try to speak, just shoot." And I'm just like, that says so much about just like
they're talking about the camera.
Yeah, exactly. But but
I think there's a bit of military commentary still there because he's done it in the other movies. And I think there's enough there. That I think the military commentary goes more underlined in this.
That's probably my favorite scene. With the military guys coming up later.
I think that one is like, again, he's covered it in his other movies. And in this, if you really look into it, there's a lot of, again, military wartime fucking commentary, which is way less on your nose than don't be fucking playing on your phone, basically. I don't know. There is pieces in here that you could really look into. It's just the way he goes about it on this. From here, it starts to eat at me a little bit.
Like it shows in some parts, like in the later scene, it still shows that there's parts there that tells me what George still gets it. He still has it during this scene. So why does he have to really ham-fist every other piece of dialogue? You know, is he afraid himself that we're not going to understand it? Maybe because it's a different era to what, you know, he kind of grew up, like he got a start in, you know, things have evolved and things have changed so much in mainstream media. And, you know, we as consumers is like, was it George's just way of like, right, I'm not sure this new generation will understand what I'm trying to say.
Maybe
you know?
It's to do with the fact that, like, with the other movies, they had like 10 years between them, right?
Yeah.
Like, they had a lot of time between, so he had a lot of time to bake his ideas.
Yeah,
where this is 2 years after Land of the Dead, right?
And Land was 20 years after Day.
Do we think that George would have wanted to make a found footage movie, or was this more of a studio thing saying it's very popular right now, George, can you make one?
This was his choice.
Yeah.
According to all the interviews and stuff that I saw, that he actually had the idea for this before Land, and he was always going to make this. Like, this is his movie. I've got a quote about it later on as well.
Okay.
But yeah, so this wasn't like... I know it's very easy to look at the landscape as well and be like, well, everything's kind of found footage in 2007, 2008. But he would have been making this and working on this beforehand. And if he was working on it and he wrote it, like a lot of it before Land, then I think he was just like early on it. Like he's always seems to be a bit before his time, you know, with the movies that he's made where they're appreciated after the fact. I think a lot of horror directors are, to be honest. That's usually the case where people find the greatness in them later on. We're not finding that so much with Diary of the Dead, but these other movies.
Well, you
absolutely. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. But no, I agree with your point, 100%.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm able to argue you on these things because no, like I'm glazing, but I'm not coping. Does that make sense? Like,
I'm going to give you that. I'm going to allow that. Yeah.
Me saying skibbity dated it, but that one's after putting the nail in the coffin.
We're fully in.
Might be glazing, but I'm not coping.
I need that on a t-shirt. We need some We Know Kino merch.
That would be so fucking funny.
I need to write that down.
Mary dies and starts to turn, and then Teach takes the gun from Gordo and he puts her down, and he tells Jason to shoot for as long as he has power. And then he gives the gun away and says that it's too easy to use, and it just reminded me of is it Revenge of the Sith where Obi-Wan's like so uncivilized and he like throws away the blaster. Yeah. And now we've got Deborah again. God had changed the rules on us, and surprisingly, we were playing along.
Right, I have to jump in here.
Right, brave.
I have the timestamp 31:16 when that quote is said, and this might be worse than Land. I miss good George A's writing. I miss the original.
Oh no! I prefer this writing than Land. But I get it. That is so cringe.
Like we said at the start, they just heard the way and her voice is so monotone as well. Like it's so dead. The way it's said, it's just my entire thing was just like, oh no.
When I started to see it as an edgy film student, I was like, okay, no, I get it. This makes sense and it works for me in that mold.
I can see it, but I still didn't like it. I thought it's just the way, I don't know, just the way it is said. I get that it's the edgy college student.
That is fair.
And honestly, now that you've brought that, I kind of a little bit more respect it as like, I get that that's maybe what they're trying to do. So
yeah. Although maybe I'm glazing, Maybe that is cope. Maybe I'm looking at copium right now. I just said that, that brilliant quote that we all love so much. But maybe I am coping. So then, all right, this is really dumb. Okay, I'm a scary looking patient zombie just walks past the camera, and Jason just does nothing, and he bites Gordo, and I'm like, bruh, Gordo is actually dead now because of fucking Jason. And
they're just watching as like they're walking together, right?
The zombie also, maybe having the camera stuck to your face helps you because zombies don't come after you if you've got the camera.
The IV bar is making noise. Yeah. You can hear the metal hitting off the ground as it's walking, so there's nobody curious.
The zombie is bringing the IV with him.
Like nobody turns around and goes, "Hey, what's that noise behind us?"
Because it only happens as soon as the camera's on it. It doesn't even matter if the camera's not on it.
But he's so close; they had to have been following them through the hallway.
Yeah,
there's no way he just rolls up off the ground.
The bite here does not look very good.
No, it looks kind of just gooey.
Yeah, it's just like ketchup smeared on his arm. Again, cheap budget and it's all like in one shot. I understand that's how they had to do
fine.
it.
I don't mind a dodgy looking bite.
I am missing Tom Savini's effect work though on this film.
Yeah,
it is missed. Those two were just the perfect combo. So without them,
practical just looks better for zombies. It just does.
I mean, look at World War Z, just terrible looking, awful. The movie, I mean. So yeah, then Elliot. Sorry, what are you saying?
The book is great. Max Brooks is fantastic.
Yeah, the book's fantastic. Go read that. Elliot grabs an IV stand and then stabs him in the heart a bunch to prove to Tony that he's dead, and that he's still moving. And then he stabs him in the head, and it's pretty fucking awesome. And he actually like scoops the brain out when he does it, and like it slaps on the floor. And yeah, just really cool. That's the use of like CG that it's just shot so fast. It looks fine, it's just over, yeah, and that's when Deborah Deborah then gives the camera to Teach and is like, take this, it's too easy to use, because like he said that about the gun. Yeah. I also like we were talking about the lack of Tom Savini, but George is still putting like characters into his zombies, in this movie. He said in an interview, he spoke about how in the remake of Dawn of the Dead, everybody's wearing like Nikes and jeans.
Yeah.
But he's got like zombies that are they match the setting. Right. And they
the doctor, the nurse, and the patient.
Yeah, they are people in the world that exist. So that's cool. So Deborah starts narrating again. Jason was trying to capture what had happened to document the news as he saw it. And that's like the messaging of the movie, especially nowadays. And then Gordo dies from the bite, and they wonder if it was like a virus or poison. And Tracy's going to stay with Gordo until he wakes up, and then she'll take care of him. And then Teach is such an asshole. He says, "Poor Gordo, he just flunked out."
He's really giving Riley a run for his money here. My God,
what a dick!
I can't.
Did they bury Mary here as well?
Yeah, they buried Mary.
Do they bury both of them? Is that what they did?
Yeah, they buried Mary. No, like obviously she had fully died, turned, and was shot, and then it just pans to like Gordon just lying there on the grass dead.
Oh, it's cool.
Like, yeah,
and he sits up. He does the Michael Myers sit up.
Yeah.
Then Tracy shoots him, which is great because Tracy should be mine. She shouldn't be Gordo's. So,
exactly.
But, now he's out of the picture now.
There you go. Free real estate.
Free real estate.
This next segment, I'm just gonna. This is the one part of the movie. Like, right. Overall, the movie wasn't for me. I could still respect it, and I'm still happy that Seb, you were able to enjoy it. This next sequence here, I was like, I can't.
This is gold right here. What's coming up is gold, Steve.
In between, I know what you're talking about, but in between there's...
In between there's what? Sorry, you cut out. Or am I cutting out? Are you guys here? Hello?
Which one of us? We all cut out there, I think.
Yeah, I think everything just blimped.
Oh, okay. What were you saying, Bex? What you said?
I'm pretty sure I know what Steve's about to talk about.
Okay.
Right? So there's a scene before it, though, where there's real footage of a car crash, riots and shootings, and a man being hung from a bridge, and the car is passing him and hitting him as he's hanging there, and all of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying it now because it's written here, and this is where it really got annoying. The message is very loud, George, and we get it. Okay. Put your phone down. So, you don't need to sit and record it all. I do get it.
Could you be shouted? Maybe this is why it's done in this way. So when you're being like, "Okay, George, we get it," George could be like, "Actually, that's Deborah." Putting your message. That's Deborah.
But
and
even
Jason.
If it is,
and he's using them as like shields for himself.
It's self-in.
You know what I mean? The self-insert, I think you're good. Oh my God, we've cut out again. What? The technical difficulties on this podcast, guys.
Are we still glitching?
Are we back?
Need to pause up and come out and in again?
Are we back?
I think it's Discord, guys. Yeah, it's definitely.
I think it is just Discord.
Yeah.
Because we're all just losing each other.
Discord is protecting George A. Romero.
Protecting the legacy.
Okay, let me just say one thing before we get to the next scene. We'll take a pause. But okay, so this just is going to set up what's about to happen. Deborah is worried about her parents, And now they're going to go to Deborah's house, and this is the direction for the movie is going in right now.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a break.
Just try and fix things.
Yeah, we'll be back. 3, 2, 1.
Down again.
Oh, count down again. But the audience are just going to hear 3, 2, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, and then they're just going to hear this. I'm already recording. Fuck it.
Okay, we're fine.
So the RV breaks down and they have to stop at a barn house, and I'm like, oh yeah, Night of the Living Dead. And Tracy's like, I can fix it because I'm from Texas and my daddy taught me how to, you know.
Yeah, Sandy Cheeks and SpongeBob.
Yeah, she's very much like that. Oh my goodness. And then they almost kill like a deaf Amish guy because he pops up and groans at them.
Yeah.
But they don't kill him, and it's good because even though this guy has very limited screen time, he might be the best guy.
What do you think, Steve?
No, I disagree. I thought this part was right. So he's a deaf Amish guy, right?
Yeah,
which is fine. But yet he can and I know there is people out there that are hard of hearing or completely deaf that are very good at lip reading, but he is able to have full conversations with them by being deaf, and he's able to respond perfectly to them on his little chalkboard.
I did notice that Tony talks to him, but like looks away and talks to other people and is able to follow with it. But yeah, also it feels our Discord keeps disconnecting, guys. So I'm sorry if you guys hear any cutouts or anything like that. It's not.
Wait, did we disconnect there?
It disconnected there as well.
I heard you guys.
Oh, you heard me?
Yeah, I heard you guys talking, so I don't know what happened, but I could hear you guys. Okay, it's fine. Whatever.
It's all fucky. It's not our internet. It's just Discord being shit.
We'll fix it in post. We'll do a George on it. George Lucas.
George Lucas?
Yeah. I know this is a George A. Romero movie, but yeah, George Lucas likes to tinker with things in post, so that's what we'll do. We'll fix it. We'll sort it. It's okay, guys.
You know when he added Greedo saying like skibbity and then shooting Han Solo?
Then he hit the gritty when he left.
But yeah, we have the whole Night of the Living Deaf scene here with the
Night of the Living Deaf. Did you just say?
You definitely had that written in your notes, ready to say that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, you're right about that. see what I mean about pretentious film students? This is the cringe.
I am Jason Creed, but yeah, I'm gonna just let you guys take this away.
You jump in when you got something.
Let me just say that this is the one scene in the movie I actually had a lot of fun with, but there's still problems in it. But
I love this scene. I love it. it. So they almost kill him, and then they tell him that they need to use his barn because the dead are coming, and then he runs out to the barn. He disappears, and then he comes running out of the barn, and there's zombies all over the place, and he fucking throws dynamite at them, and the dynamite explodes, and the zombies just disappear out of existence.
Yeah.
And
it cuts back to him with his chalkboard saying, "Hello, I'm Samuel," and it's like Wile E. Coyote with the sign saying
as
it,
the
and the mud
falls on him. Yeah. I'm Samuel. Hello is written on his chalkboard, and it's almost like like silent comedy in that aspect. It's very cartoony there.
It's funny.
I didn't think of it like Wile E. Coyote before. That's perfect. I still need to watch that 100 Beavers movie you were telling me about.
Please do.
I'm gonna find it. I watched the trailer like yesterday, and I'm like, holy shit, this looks amazing.
It's insane.
So I gotta point out that again that these early found footage movies were never shot that good, right? But I'm really at this point, I must have wrote in my notes that I enjoyed how the camera work. You know, I just think it's really good. Okay, they check the tape from the camera they got at the hospital, and there's a zombie at a kid's birthday party. It's a clown at a kid's birthday party, and his fucking nose falls off.
Yeah.
And blood splurts out. And again, more cool zombie characters. And this is very much like, in Signs, is it an alien at a kid's birthday party?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is really like that, similar to that. And the zombies are walking towards the barn, and the shots are like that of Night of the Living Dead. You know, that's pretty cool. Like kind of like throwbacks, but without being so on the nose about it. Whereas other things are way too on the nose about it. They have a tense scene in the stables, and then a zombie almost eats Tracy under the RV, but our Amish hero here like scythes him to death.
Have a problem.
Okay.
The kill is cool, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you describe the kill itself if you want to, but the kill is cool. That site gets CGI extended in that scene, so it stretches between the two heads because
no. This
isn't
the two heads yet. This is just the Irish guy killing the zombie that was about to get Tracy under the RV.
Okay.
Yeah. But you are right. That does happen. So we're about halfway through the movie now.
Decides to kill me.
They need supply. Wait. Now I've missed that in my notes. Anyway, yeah, he gets bitten and then he fucking stabs himself through the head with the scythe, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What a hero. But yeah, cool. CGI length on it. We're getting some Ruby scythe action here going on.
In it, because when we see it earlier, it's a normal scythe. So it's like, cool, he's got a scythe. And then when he does the heroic thing to stab himself in the head to go through, it extends long enough to go through both their heads. And it wasn't that long earlier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. I mean, maybe it's long enough to go through both of them, but it's really sticking out the back. Like,
It's like the whole length of what we'd seen first is now sticking out through the back. So
it's like a video game.
It's a bit too long. But it's still a cool kill. I won't take that away from it. It's pretty cool.
Zombie kill of the week.
There's some dogs woofing outside. I don't know if you can hear them.
Woofy pooches.
So they need supplies, and they stop outside of a petrol station, and there's a zombie pushing a shopping cart, and I'm like, Land of the Dead. See, we're getting these little callbacks without them paying attention to it, you know? And that's cool. That's cool. We all agree that's cool, right, guys?
We agree. I hear Riley's monologuing about like they're just pretending to be us still. It's like it's all they have left. It's just like
maybe we are them.
It's just the whole. Ironically, his whole conversation with Mike and Land, and then you just see Tony like just not.
Yeah, Tony's there, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Tony, you remember this? Yeah. Tony's like, this seems familiar.
I wonder if the actor at the time was like, deja vu.
Deja vu, yeah, I would hope so.
So they get
Sean
jumped.
Roberts does cameos.
They get jumped, don't they, by a bunch of guys, and these guys have guns, and then they all like stick their guns up at each other, and then they hear shooting in the distance, and then that makes them become friends because there's shooting in the distance, right? So the guys with the big guns, they take our crew back to the warehouse. And
yes.
There's a funny thing said on the radio here that the problem is no longer with immigration about people crossing the borders, but people crossing the border between life and death. Very, very American. The leader guy at the warehouse says he's going to let the students take like gas for their RV, and that money's useless now. And that's pretty nice of him to say that, right? Like.
Yeah,
they're like, hey, we'll buy some gas, and he's like, no, you just take it. And when asked why the guys are staying there, by the way, the group at the warehouse are mostly black men, right?
Yeah.
So when asked why they're staying there, the leader goes, because we got the power for the first time in our lives. We got the power because everybody's left, all the folks without suntans, right? And then Deborah. Such a meanie panini. She says it's called. She says what you're doing is looting. Just like, yo,
come on, read the room.
And then the leader, who's called the stranger, he said in the credits, he says it's called doing what you got to do. Yeah. And it's like, like
Deborah,
come on, read the room. Yeah, like you said.
What a panini move.
Yeah, totally.
This is Romero. He's purposefully putting his messages in, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in Night of the Living Dead, it was an accident. Yeah, but he's doing it on purpose here, right? So
I think it works a little bit here with this crew, though.
It does work. Yeah. This is some of the better stuff here. So Well, until they get into the little back room with the Wi-Fi, we'll talk with the internet. We'll talk about that. So Tony says that surely someone will come to save us, like the National Guard. And then the guy's like, "Kid, I'm in the National Guard," you know?
Yeah.
So Jason goes to a back room where he has connection to the internet, and he makes editing look so easy. It's like clicking between multiple perspectives and not having to line anything up.
Yeah.
And I get that they're not going to have him fucking watch like a YouTube tutorial on Premiere Pro or anything like that. Like, I've been doing a lot of dual perspective editing for YouTube. It's the most tedious shit in the world.
Trying to get the line up.
Yeah, I wish it was this easy. Plug. Check me out on YouTube. There's a there's a TV with a news report playing in the background, and this is where we have our George Romero cameo. So
he's the chief of police.
Yeah, he's a police chief, and he's saying that the attacks we saw at the opening of the film on the camera crew were done by illegal immigrants, not the dead coming back to life.
Yeah.
So he's basically doing a big cover up here, and again, it's like the theme that you can't really. Who can you trust? Like, what media out there can you trust? And then we find out that Jason's uploaded his footage to MySpace, and he's getting 72,000 hits in 8 minutes.
Yeah,
he's so cool.
Yeah.
He's getting so much clout.
Is so dated as well, isn't it?
72,000 hits back in 2007, 2008 MySpace days. He's the most famous man on earth.
He is. He's bigger than who's big back then.
He's bigger than who was popular then?
He's bigger than Tobuscus.
Yeah.
He's bigger than Make Me Bad 35. He's bigger than Ryan Heger. I'm not going to say his username. He's
very close to bad.
I was going to say it, and I was like, oh god, no.
I remember in school being like finding him on YouTube and then being like, how do I tell people to watch him because you can't say the name?
Yeah, he's bigger than Smosh. You know, he's beasted. God, that is huge.
That's a blast. Smosh.
Yeah.
I'm just like getting nostalgia pages back to old YouTube now.
I'm trying to think of other guys.
Ray William? No, he was YouTube.
Yeah, Ray William Johnson. YouTube.
Yeah,
these are all
Johnson was
YouTube.
popular for a while.
Yeah, Ray William Johnson was big.
Fred guy.
Fred.
Fred was.
He was just called Fred, wasn't
guy.
He? Yeah.
Wonder what he's doing now. I hope he's doing well for himself.
He made that movie where John Cena's his dad.
I love the scene in that movie where John Cena just climbs out of the fridge and just fucking like gives them this motivational talk. It's so funny.
When are we going to do the Fred movie for the podcast?
There's like 3 of those as well.
It does not 3 of them. What?
Right, well, I'm not picking it because my OCD. I'll have to do all 3.
We'd have to watch every Fred movie.
All right, guys, we've done the Romeros. Now we're on to Fred.
God, two pioneers of cinema.
Asda Films, you know, that was cool.
Old YouTube used to just hit different.
Yeah. Shmohoyo, that's cool, guys.
They used to do bangers.
Yeah, they did. Okay, should we stop?
We all just started to feel really old and nostalgic.
So, Jason feels just in his cause because he thinks he could be helping people by showing the world how they're managing to survive. Although they're not doing a great job of surviving, are they? Mary's dead, Gordo's dead. Like, maybe learn from their mistakes. And he argues that the news isn't telling people the truth. And, we just saw George Romero. And you got to remember, this is 2007 we're talking about. The term fake news is like thrown about all the time now. Not so much then. I mean, obviously people didn't trust the news, but like you went from having like a few news stations to having like just everybody now knows what's going on, right? Everybody's connected. So it's good. I do appreciate that commentary, right?
Yeah.
Earlier, I said about how the editor used the police broadcasts from real life, but edited them into like fit the film. And that message that Romero is saying is kind of baked into the movie like the movie making process by doing that. So I again, something else that I find really cool. Deborah's brother then texts her, says that her parents have been camping. The brother and the parents have been camping and that they're heading home. And then Ridley, the mummy, not Tom Cruise's mummy, Ridley's mummy, video calls Jason and tells him to come hang at the mansion, right? He's still in his mummy attire.
Yeah.
Like, and you... What they've got like scan lines and like static on the fucking MSN AOL chat video chat. Like it's obvious that George doesn't use any of this stuff, but you know what? Oh, there's not good connection. Okay, static instead of just like cutting out like what was happening to us. So. What's scary about this kind of zombie like apocalypse is like it's just anyone who dies becomes the undead. Mm-hmm. You know, I kind of like the idea. That's what The Walking Dead does as well. I think I found out recently that The Walking Dead was originally supposed to be a Night of the Living Dead like comic. Yeah, but somebody told Robert Kirkman to just make his own title so he can get the money from it, so he doesn't have to give any of the money residuals to like George. So whilst they're at the warehouse, a guy has like had a heart attack and gone missing, right?
Yeah.
When they're searching the RV in case he's in there, there's a report from Night of the Living Dead playing on the TV or on the radio. Cool. So then they find a guy and they shoot him, and then they go up to him and it's the wrong guy, and they're all like, "Oh man." They just shot the wrong dude, right?
Yeah.
And then I think this scene is kind of cool but cheesy. I kind of think the whole movie is like cool concept, cheesy execution, where the zombie walks up to Tony and nobody does anything. They've already tried to shoot the zombie and it didn't work. They didn't just aim for the head. And then they all allow the zombie to walk up to Tony and he grabs some like acid in a jar and cracks him in the head with it.
Doesn't burn his hand at all, by the way.
No.
Or, you know, the big crew of guys that just randomly shot somebody didn't decide to shoot this zombie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They don't shoot him in the head. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't shoot at it
They
at
do
all,
shoot this zombie. I'm sure they shoot him. There's no bullet holes in him.
No, they shot the guy who was the wrong guy. And then when this zombie starts to push, they just sit there watching, which I think is maybe George saying, hey, you know, look, they're all watching, not helping. That's the point. But like, they opened fire on the guy, but they didn't open fire at all.
Jason's still being an asshole. He's the worst friend. He's not helping anybody.
He is.
He's just filming it. So
he is despicable.
And this, by the way, is after Tony went to go and get him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tony's a good guy, right?
Yep.
Are we in agreement here? Tony's cool.
Yeah. He might be a bit mean, but like, overall, he's pretty cool.
On the situation as well, like it's a bad situation to be in, zombie apocalypse. So this guy gets smashed in the head and his fucking brain melts and his bones melt and shit like that. That's some powerful acid.
It's another cool kill, bad visuals, but I think it's cool enough of a kill that I actually just excused this one. I was just like, it's not actually that bad. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's original as well. Like I don't think of anything else I've ever seen with a zombie where they fucking melted him down with acid or something.
Maybe happens in Return of the Living Dead, one of those movies.
Maybe. But like in my memory, this is what I had in my head. It's like I've never seen it.
I like George's movies, and I'm not into like you guys know I'm not into like the torture porn or like just like gore for the sake of gore, but I do like the different ways that he will think of how to kill somebody.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. And I'll forever be excited whenever I hear Tom Savini talking about how excited he is to kill people in different ways as well.
I rather as well in zombie movies where they do creative stuff instead of everybody just shooting zombies or stabbing zombies with a knife. You know, like when they get a little bit more fun with it, it just spices up, makes it more memorable instead of just a bunch of military guys running around shooting them and then that's it, they're dead.
Wait, have you seen the next movie, Survival of the Dead?
No.
Okay,
I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic experience.
I'll come back to that. Whereas this movie, I'm like, yeah, but this bit was cool. And you're like, well, maybe not. And I'm like, okay, the next movie is going to be we're all going to be in the same boat, I think. It's.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to make us watch a dog shit movie.
What if Steve or me love it and then
we have come so far from us
Yeah.
all loving it to you guys falling off. On the last one, Bex, you'd completely fallen off, and Steve was kind of hanging on, and I was there, right? I was fully on. Now Steve's fallen off, you've fallen off, and I'm hanging on. The next one, we're all
off?
yeah.
Oh, hey, you don't know that yet. You don't know.
I'm
Maybe
assuming.
one of us will click with it.
Yeah, maybe because it's so American Irish, it'll just really match you guys. You know?
As long as someone says in that movie, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Yeah. If they don't take a swig from their drink at least 15 times in the movie, I'll be disappointed in it.
and pray to like God Almighty. Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
And
there's
Steve,
lots
you'll
of-
know what it is. Do you know the fight in Irish tattoo?
Yeah.
If somebody in that movie doesn't have that tattoo somewhere, instantly hate it.
Oh,
Good.
can't wait. Survival.
It's going to be the first movie that I genuinely think I'm just making us watch a bad movie, but it's for the purpose of
That's
getting them
fine,
all,
yeah.
you know? Like,
We
I
have to watch bad movies sometimes.
we're doing it. We might be doing it right now, guys, you know? Yeah.
Yes, we are.
So, yes, we
Steve
are.
didn't even
Thanks.
take a second.
Thanks,
He just
dude.
went straight, yes, we are.
No, but I am truly like,
I gotta say, I got sore cheeks right now from all this smiling. Face cheeks. I shouldn't have to fucking specify what cheeks are sore.
Well, hey, you know, if you had, if the other ones just so too, that's fine.
I'm just smiling a lot, guys.
yeah, good.
So, Deborah.
No.
Deborah manages to talk her way into getting the crew's the crew some weapons and supplies before they leave. Teach picks up a bow and arrow and he goes, "It seems friendlier somehow." You know?
Yes.
Which, what he's going to do with it is like the least friendly thing you can do, I think. So Tracy's watching YouTube videos and she sees a girl from Tokyo saying that the virus is very bad there.
Yeah.
Don't bury dead, just shoot in head.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's somebody on like a mini motor outside zooming around now. I live in the worst neighborhood, guys. It sucks. So I think this is our first time finding out what the virus is like, not just in America in these movies.
Worldwide,
Yeah, which makes sense since everybody who dies comes back, right? That would have spread.
Oh, I want to give a little to another Canadian actor, not very as well known, but Boyd Banks shows up in this movie as the weapons dealer in the back of the pickup truck. He was the very noticeable butcher zombie in Land of the Dead. Yeah, the one with the cleaver.
Yeah,
which is cool. It's a very distinct look. Which
That's
I
so
thought
cool. He does have a very distinct. I was wondering where I'd seen him before when I was watching it. I was like, is that in a recent movie? And that's Land, yeah. Okay. I've wrote here in my notes that whenever they lose signal watching something on the internet, it goes all wavy and staticky and has interference. Yeah. George was he was an old man making this film about young media, I suppose, or upcoming media. So the mainstream had vanished. Now it's just up to the bloggers, hackers, kids. So this is George's "Hello, fellow kids" dialogue right here. So they then leave. They go to Deborah's parents' place and they find the car smashed up in the garage. And Tony's a really good guy here. Again, he's like coaching Deborah through the stress, saying that she might see some bad shit. And he's got a nice coping mechanism that I've never heard of before. Like, go and look for something so your focus is on that.
Yeah. He's also the first one on the RV that says he's not going to let her go in by herself as well.
Yeah, when her boyfriend is just sitting there like a goon, just
she's like, I guess I'll call you.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, all right.
I don't know if it's already happened or if it happens after this, but like when they're asleep in the RV together, they're cuddling up together, and Jason just films them cuddling up, and I'm like, oh.
What is this? Yeah, it's just like I didn't notice that myself. I was like, wait, which one of these are in the relationship? I thought it was Jason and Deborah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jason, I guess he uses that camera in all aspects, huh? He just
So Deborah's little brother he jumps on the back of her. He's a zombie.
Yeah.
They're zombies. He jumps on the back of her, and then Teach fucking shoots him with an arrow through the head and pins him to the wall.
Yeah.
And
cool.
as much as that is unrealistic, it's so badass, right?
It's so badass.
Yeah. And then he takes out her mum, who comes out from like behind a sofa, right? And I'm thinking, dude is alcoholic Legolas over here, you know? It's
Moment.
feasting.
In that moment, Maxwell has been drinking for a good part of like a day and a half now.
Yeah, constantly.
And he's still absolutely headshotting like tiny zombie children with a body. And this is like
While they're moving on top of like one of his other students, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maxwell MVP. Play the game.
Okay, so they leave, and now they're back in the RV, and we've got yet another actor. So this is now the third actor from Land of the Dead that I'm aware of anyway, that shows up, and this is Alan Van Sprang, and he's playing Sarge Crockett. And he was the guy who checked on Cholo's papers when he was trying to get Dead Reckoning in Land. And he's a member of the National Guard here. And you could imagine that he then goes from the National Guard to working at Pastor's Green, what was it called again? Fiddler's Green.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we said, this is a reboot. It's not the same universe, but if you want to, you can force it.
I want to, even though it makes no sense.
You like Land, so it would be better if this turned into Land, right?
And I just every time I see a military guy being just like an asshole, I just think of Sergeant Riley, and I say Riley would be proud. Riley would be proud of what the military became. Just take no shit. You know, they're in charge. Everybody answers to them. Riley, we miss you. Yeah.
You mean
Rhodes?
Not Riley.
Rhodes.
Riley wanted out of it.
Oh yeah, wait.
Rhodes from Day of the Dead.
Yes. Rhodes would be proud. See, I'm so infatuated with just him. I just completely forgot his name. Rhodes would be proud. Yeah, the military.
God, I love Rhodes so much.
He was great.
Yeah. So
I miss him.
Was he the last great actor in one of these movies?
Yes.
That performance is just... I mean, the actors are good, right? But that performance is incredible in Day of the Dead. Okay, so they show up and the crew think that they're being saved, especially Tony, because he's like, the National Guard, right? But instead, the National Guard here just take all of their shit.
Yeah.
This National Guard guy, Sarge Crockett, he's the protagonist of Survival of the Dead.
Oh, I'm so in.
Survival is a sequel to this then?
Direct sequel spin-off, yeah. So from this moment, it then follows him and his National Guard crew.
Okay.
It skips a bit, but he talks about what he did here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I was going to ask actually, but at the end of once we finish all of these movies, I was like, was there ever one that George considered like just a direct sequel in the same universe? And now I have my answer.
Survival was made 2 years after this.
Yep.
And is 2009, I think, and is directly connected. There's never been a movie that's been more directly connected.
Is Survival his last movie then?
I think it was his last movie ever. Yeah. He was working on Twilight of the Dead, which there were reports that it was starting production last year, but I was looking it up and I've not found anything else on it. You know, they're still trying to make it. Obviously we spoke about that Land of the Dead sequel that somebody was trying to get made that became like a werewolf movie that still hasn't been made.
Damn.
Yeah, so it sucks that Survival is his final movie because I think it's very bad. Although maybe I'll watch it next week and I'll be like, yo, this actually slaps. But we've always got The Living Dead, the book, like I mention all the time because it's worth mentioning. So, to be fair to the National Guard here, they don't steal their weapons.
No. Okay.
And one of them, I think Teach says, like, they're not murderers, they're thieves, right? Because they didn't leave them weaponless. And now it cuts to, like, what I think is a pretty dope scene of a SWAT team going into an old couple's apartment and their, like, son or something is, like, turned into a zombie. And this is very Wreck.
Yeah.
And this is they would have filmed this before they'd even had the chance to see Wreck, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that dual thinking that they're both thinking of this at the same time. Where, in fact, the SWAT team aspect of Wreck comes in Wreck 2. That's not even Wreck 1, right?
Yeah.
And just cool concept. What were you saying, sorry?
No, I was just thinking in my own head. Isn't it the second movie that the SWAT team? I was just doing it for myself.
Yeah, it's in the second movie. It's the SWAT team break in, and that's at the same time a bunch of like 3 kids break in as well.
Yeah.
God, I want to watch those movies again. They're so good. Maybe we'll do them soon. Yeah. All these shots from other people's perspectives here were downloaded by Deborah or Jason to add to the film. That's what we're given anyway in the narration. And now we are arriving at the Ridley's mansion. So we're right in the end game here. This is so smooth. And Francine is supposed to be with Ridley too. Francine. Right. Ridley's got a bunch of security cameras in the house, so we get a bunch of like dope old school Resident Evil style fixed camera shots.
The old tank camera,
Won a mansion as well.
Oh,
and you remember George was supposed to do a Resident Evil movie that like fell through. We could have had some gold, you know. It could have been awesome. And Tracy says every time we walk in somewhere, somebody dies. Yeah, and I was like, see, that's the kind of cheesy dialogue that I vibe with. That right there, that's good. Ridley bursts out of the panic room. So they're like exploring the mansion. Ridley bursts out of the panic room and he's very sussy. It's hard to tell if he's high or drunk or if he's just lost it. Yeah. And Elliot's like, hey, can I take a bath? And Ridley's like, yep, go take one of the 15 bathrooms and go and take a bath. Ridley is still dressed up as a mummy.
Yep.
Tracy's still wearing her dress from the Mummy shoot as well. You know, when from right back at the beginning of the film. And then Jason and Tracy go out to the RV and the rest follow Ridley to the kitchen. And he's really acting up, is really weird. And he keeps telling them that his family and the staff and Francine, they're all out back.
Out back, yeah.
Yeah. He says how, and then like eventually he explains that they all turned on each other and he had to take them all out, basically. Like one of them bit another one and then they bit the chef and then the chef maybe ate his duck or whatever they wanted to make. And then they bit Fran and then, everybody, they all died. So he's buried them in the garden, but he said he couldn't dig up his mum's roses. So he's put them in the swimming pool.
Yeah, he wanted to bury them.
And the shot of them in the swimming pool. Have you ever seen that video of like is it like a manatee or like a seal like spinning in the water?
Yeah.
Like they all look like. Anyway, I think it's a great shot. It's really ominous and dark.
Yeah.
The idea of burying somebody like that. You don't like it?
I think it's the water's fake, they fake, it's all CG.
Yeah, it is, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
No, there's no way that's all fake.
It is. I'm telling you right now, go back and watch it. The water's fake, the people in the bottom of it are all fake, everything is fake. The whole thing, there's not a single thing real in it. It's all fake.
George, why couldn't we just have people just hold their breath underwater?
Like, I think the idea of the cool
it would have been
cool. Like,
tough. You gotta this. All right, I'll talk about a little bit more about how
it's a quick shot though. You could have 4 or 5 people sitting in the bottom of a swimming pool for a quick shot and cut off of it.
You could just put some mannequins in there as well.
Even that too, because it's a far away enough shot that if they're just floating there as mannequins, you'd be like, "Oh, the fucking people are dead. They're just there."
I had no clue that was all CGI.
Well, I didn't really think about it too much. I just thought it was a cool shot. I really like that shot.
It's eerie. It's cool.
I like the idea. Yeah, I wish I knew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you enjoyed it in the moment, that's what matters, right?
Yeah.
So then, okay, so this is like maybe the cheesiest cut in the entire movie, apart from like the zombie pin bowling balls, where the characters like look at Ridley's arm and he's got blood on it, and then Ridley sneaks off, he vents away, and they don't realize he's gone, And then Deborah must have edited in a slow-mo zoom into Ridley's arm to say, look, he had blood on his arm. Maybe he was bitten. Right? Yeah. So, during this, Tracy and Jason, they're out by the RV, and he's not helping her get any of the things from the RV because he's just there filming, right? And she's getting annoyed with him. And then Ridley, zombie Ridley, grabs her, chases her, and Jason's still not helping.
Yeah.
Because he's got the camera. And this is where the movie comes full circle. We're back in the woods with Tracy being chased by a shambling mummy, and Jason's behind the camera.
Yep.
She hits Ridley on the shoulder, and he just like... Wait a sec. Before she takes him down, he does like pull out her skirt and her tits show, just like she was saying, and it's meta funny joke. Then she hits Ridley on the shoulder and takes him out in just like one little tap on the shoulder, basically. And I was like, "Is he dead?"
Texas. Yeah. That's her line, yeah, because she's a Southern girl, so she's a Southern belle, yeah.
Don't mess with Texas. And then some banjo music plays. And Deborah must have edited that in.
Yeah, because nobody
That does seem like something cheesy that a film student would do, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I am coping, not just glazing.
No, the music getting added there isn't even that bad. I could see it. I could see somebody being like, haha, that's funny. She said the line. Let's give her a little music.
A little jingle there. So she's furious that Jason didn't help her. And she takes the RV because she's sick of Jason's shit, as we all are at this point.
Yeah. And
she's like, this isn't working. You could take the house. I'll take the car. And then she drives off. Yeah. I love her.
In that moment, she is canonically the smartest survivor ever in this franchise. Because
I agree.
Think what she does, right? She's capable with a gun. She's able to put Gordo down when he turns. She's able to fix the vehicle. She can handle herself, and she knows when to fucking dip.
Yeah, and to leave. Most importantly, to leave these bad people that she is surrounded by.
Yep.
Because they're awful.
Yep.
Yeah. So she is out, and I just want the adventures of Tracy now, like just being badass.
Mm-hmm. I want to see her like join the Dead Reckoning crew. Her and Cholo and Riley.
Oh, her Riley and Riley's little mate. With the,
no, Cholo's dead. Sorry. Yeah, Cholo dies.
What's Riley's mate's called? Yeah, I can't remember.
The guy with the Charlie. Yeah, the guy with the burnt face.
Yes, Charlie. Yeah, those three. No, she's too good for Riley.
Yeah, she is.
Her and Charlie, they can go on adventures together.
Yeah.
Can I bring up a line that said here?
Yeah, go on.
So Tracy obviously pulls off in the RV, and it cuts to Tony and Deborah inside, and Tony's like, "Where's she going?" And Deborah turns around. She's not going for Chinese. That's it. He just cuts.
And they left that. Obviously, they left that into the like the recording.
That is such like a Marvel quippy moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's not going for Chinese. I literally just like my face deadpanned. I was like, "Oh my god, cool."
Deborah also, right? She then says to Tony that they should sit in the panic room and, I quote, play Nintendo until this whole thing blows over.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that like Shaun of the Dead? And they go there, and it's also very old man writing that like a games console is just known as the Nintendo.
The Nintendo in 2007, let's go.
Yeah.
Video games till the world ends. Perfect way to go.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be doing it. We're doing it right now. It feels like the world's ending sometimes. Just sitting there.
Exactly.
All right, guys, I'm on my 8,000 hour of Dead by Daylight.
I got my P100 ready.
So then, Mummy Zombie Ridley. That sounded weird, didn't it? Mummy Ridley.
Mummy
Ridley.
He's a mummy. He sneaks into the bathroom whilst Elliot is drying his hair.
Yeah, so you can't hear him with the hairdryer.
Well, Elliot's a fucking idiot as well. Elliot deserved to be eaten here.
In comparison to Tracy, is Elliot quite possibly one of the most inconsequential characters we've ever had in one of these movies.
He has a cool
literally
moment with the IV drip.
He's
He's got the IV drip, and when they go to Deborah's house, he's like, "Oh, maybe Deborah's little brother has a Nintendo or something like that, a PlayStation."
Yeah. Like you almost don't remember Elliot until he dies. Then
I was looking at the cast, and I saw the actor who played Elliot. Right, I was like, "Is that actually him?" And I clicked onto it, and he's like the most handsome guy you'll ever see.
Right,
and you do not see him in this. I was like, "What?"
He's also in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh,
he's a random guy in an elevator in Gideon's.
He's a random guy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Canadian cast in this, you know. So, yeah.
Wow.
Where am I? So Elliot gets fucking eaten.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. The from above security camera shot, and he falls in the bath. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Jason refuses to lock himself in the panic room because he'll miss everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And this is a bit like we're getting a new version of the go into the cellar or fight upstairs thing, because he says that they can just stay there and fight and defend the mansion. And she's like, no, go into the panic room. You know? Yeah. So it's a bit like...
Nice duality there.
Yeah, call back to Night of the Living Dead. And this is when I realized that Jason was played by the guy who plays Martin Freeman's brother in Fargo, season 1. It's a good show. Watch that. He goes off alone with his camera, and he gets grabbed by Ridley. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Ridley is such a dope-looking zombie with his mummy outfit and his zombie makeup. I was like, all right, Greg Nicotero and team did good job here. It looks awesome. I want to be him for Halloween. I think that'd be so cool. Yeah. He also gets a pretty dope death, right? Where like Teach just like slices him up the head with the sword.
Yeah.
So we've got Teach, right? He could shoot a gun, headshots. He can fire a bow and arrow, and he can use a sword. All absolutely wasted. He's the most functioning alcoholic ever.
Yeah.
But Jason's been bitten, and he asks them to shoot him. Press X to Jason and press F to pay respects, because Jason's getting wrecked here. And we get a little Big Brother diary room moment with Jason filming himself, saying how he's going to be filming everything raw and real for the audience. And he looks really excited that the world's ending. And he must have filmed this at the start, you know? Maybe he filmed it in like the bathroom of the RV or something when they all started going on before he decided he was going to make the documentary. Or when he decided he was going to make the documentary. And Teach... Is that him dead now, Jason? I think that's just the end of Jason, and they carry the cameras into like the safe room or the room next to it. And teaches a line here that I love, and this line has stuck with me for a long time. I don't know if it's him or he's quoting something. It sounds like he's quoting something, but he says that he doesn't like mornings because mornings bring light. I prefer the darkness. It's easier to hide in the dark. And then Tony says that mornings, they show you for who you are instead of what you think you are. And then he goes, mornings and mirrors, I despise them. Mornings and mirrors only serve to terrify old men. You know? Yeah. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I do like it. It doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the film, but I like it. It's
like Zombie Slayer Batman.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And then Tony says that... sorry. We see the security cameras and the dead are just coming in all over the mansion, right? And like they're climbing out of the swimming pool. That's a bit goofy, but the dead are just breaking in, and you're like, oh shit! And we get a really dark ending again, right? Where it's only Tony, Teach, and Deborah left, and they just go into the safe room and just close the door, and that's it. That's the last we really see of them.
Yeah.
Deborah then shows us the last thing that Jason downloaded before he died, and it's a video of some, like, they say, hometown Joes using zombies as target practice. And then then she says, "Are we worth saving?
Oh,
you tell me."
Tell me.
Yeah, it's the last edgy line from Deborah, and we've actually. We lost Bex for a second. How's it going, bro?
My thing just crashed out. I don't know what happened there.
We're just saying that Deborah was being edgy again, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is it the part with the the last bit of footage we see.
Yeah. Are we worth saving? You know, that's
you tell me.
Very
Because
2008.
Because it's footage of some guys having a few beers and they've obviously caught themselves some zombies and they've tied them to a tree or tied them.
They're thriving in the apocalypse. They're having a good time, you know? Yeah.
Just blasting. Just started blasting.
So that's Diary of the Dead, guys.
That's movie number 5.
This film was shot in 20 days.
Yeah.
And they had 3 days of pickup, so like extra shooting. They could spend all day setting up scenes and then film like the scene in 2 hours once it was set up. I read some interviews with the cast members and they all said that George was just fantastic to work with and that it was such a lovely set. Wesker himself said that he loves working with George and he hoped that he could work with George forever, basically.
We should have got that Resident Evil movie. We should have got it.
Oh my god! Imagine with Tony as Wesker as well. Yeah.
Oh my god! Stop laughing, Beckham. We should have. We were robbed. We were robbed of that chance.
He said that George said that there were no bad apples and that production was so much better than Land of the Dead. The film cost about $2 million.
All in, yeah.
And it made $5.3 million at the box office and on a very tiny limited release, by the way. So double and then some. And I think this movie, it's hard to find on streaming. Bex, you were saying you had a tough time finding it, right?
It was very tough.
It was always on TV when I was growing up. Like it was always on Film 4.
Okay.
George said that this was the first film since Night where he got to go back to the formula, where he was making all the calls. He had control and he didn't need approvals on anything. This was his film.
Unfiltered,
So I'm definitely called being pulled towards the parallels between like George Romero and George Lucas, where when they finally make their own film and they're bringing CG in and they're bringing their own heavy ham-fisted messages and then people don't really enjoy it too much. Although with the prequels now, I always loved them because I was like a kid at the time growing up with them. And I don't know if I can take my nostalgia goggles off. I just love those films. Except for Attack of the Clones. I don't think that's very good.
Yeah, I like 1 and 3. 3 is my favorite of all the Star Wars movies.
3 is my second favorite after 5, yeah. 5 is
for me, it maybe goes 4, then 3, and then 5, then 1, maybe something like that. I'd have to really think about it. Yeah, then 6 and 2, and then the Disney shit. But yeah, to get back to Romero, as I said, I had a really good time with this. It's still one of my favorites, and I think it's still one of my favorite movies. And I know, and I understand the criticisms. It's just for me, I must have watched it at the right time. It just resonates with me. And if we're looking at the last this trilogy of George's last zombie work here, this is the strongest in the second trilogy. For me, I prefer this to Land, and I definitely prefer this to Survival. It's just got so many things that I enjoy in it. So
I'm envious and I admire how you were able to articulate and express like how and why you were able to enjoy this movie, because I could imagine back when you seen this for the first time, like you said, as a teenager in secondary school, high school, like it would have been such a unique concept to you. Like I could imagine just a zombie movie done from a whole first person perspective of just in that genre. That
absolutely, we didn't get many things like this, and then they all came at once. But until this point, we didn't have many things like this, right? So it was very novel. And then all of a sudden, we had everything doing this. There's a few found footage British zombie movies as well that I've seen that are, I don't know if they're any good, but they're not as good as this. The Zombie Diaries is one. There's some awful scenes in it.
Even being an example of found footage. Yeah, I've not seen any of them myself, but it's just so oversaturated.
The zombie genre became super oversaturated at this time period, because I think when did like Left 4 Dead come out? You know, we had suddenly in video games it was all
Dead Rising.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Then you had The Walking Dead blow up in like 2011, like a couple of years later. It's
Dead
crazy.
Rising 2006, so yeah, before this.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead came out in 2008. Yeah, so it was all happening. It was all happening. But yeah, I had such a good time watching this again with under the critical scope, critical lens. So thanks for checking this out. And also, I really enjoyed the back and forth with you guys. As I said, my cheeks were sore from smiling so much because I had such a good time talking about this film.
So where do you rank this then? What's your George A. Romero ranking now that we've got this one?
It was your 5. Your top. We can do top 5 now, which is nice.
Yeah.
I don't remember what my ranking was from the other week.
Well,
I think I said
even
this
thinking
last
of it
time,
then.
so.
Run it now off the top of your head.
Just say, let's say, fresh in your mind now.
God. In terms of quality or just my personal preference?
Your favorite. Your favorite.
I fucking love Diary of the Dead, guys. Number 1, baby. Let's go. So I think number 1, and then number 2, then Dawn, and then Day, and then Night, and then Land. But that'll maybe change. The next time we do this, that will be our definitive list. Because we'll have all 6 and we won't be coming back to, there's no more Romero zombie movies to come back to. So next time we in 3 weeks or whenever we next record our final Romero movie podcast, we all have to really sit and think because that'll be in the annals of history. That'll be it. But what about you two right now?
Mine's very easy off the top of my head. I think I can rattle them off. It's Night, Day, Dawn, Land, Diary. Yeah, Night is untouchable, and Day. I don't know how Day.
Well, Day's a fantastic film. I always go between. I think Day and Dawn are like the best, right? Like quality wise, and like if you factor everything in, it's so hard to go between the two. Sorry, Bex. What about you?
I would probably say Dawn, Night, Day, Land, Diary.
That's fair, guys. Diary.
I think so.
I'm surprised that Diary is lower than Day. No, sorry, lower than Land.
Land for me, Land does some zombie stuff better, and at least there's something in there. There's a little bit more of a Romero-y feeling movie, where this one feels like Romero doing what was at the time.
Like for Land for me, Land. What Diary holds to you?
Yeah, because I've got nostalgia for Diary. Obviously,
that's why Land obviously pips. I can't possibly give Land bottom spot, lads. I put it over. I praised it for so long, so I just out principle. But Land was kind of like my first introduction to what George could do, and I always thought the premise was entirely cool. Whereas, Diary brought the found footage aspect to it. I always thought Land brought the zombies gaining some sort of like sentience back, or like having some sort of agenda, but then. No, Day did it better.
Day does Land better, and Day has more to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Day is just such a great film.
But Night for me was just the one that started all. Just the setting, the premise, the characters, the way it was shot. All shot in black and white, all shot literally throughout the night, like mostly throughout the night, it was just it's unmatched for me. I think to myself, which situation would I be just like the most terrified in, or like would have the just most impact on me? I was like, night for that night.
I'm gonna have to think of some like questions for the end of the next time's one, and if you guys have any ideas of questions that we could discuss, things we could discuss when we finish up the Romero saga here,
to kind of just cover ground of the whole franchise.
I think a good question would be like, which crew would you rather be with throughout the movies? We can talk about that next week. Stuff like that. So if you listening have any questions about any of these Romero zombie movies, stuff like that, let us know, because I think that'd be really fun to go into. when we finish it, because we're actually going to finish a series of movies here.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's our first one. Franchise will be done. That's
Mm.
well,
that's an achievement in
actually,
itself.
we're doing Bex. You've already announced this, but we're doing Trainspotting next, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Technically, I guess, yeah. That's just a double movie. What we've done here is bigger. It's bigger. That's basically
that's a
just
movie
a movie
that shouldn't have been a
sequel.
franchise, but then they made another one.
Yeah.
So I get.
I'm
So
excited to see this.
Yeah.
It's still fresh in my mind. I want to see how this continues.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we think of.
Yeah, so you're
Trainspotting.
still up for that, right? I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there or anything.
Obviously, well, we'll talk about it now because we're heading into the yapping bubble now,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, Steve, you're going to be missing for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Away.
So
you're not going missing.
Oh yeah, I
sorry,
guys. Keep me in your prayers. Keep me in your prayers. But I'll still be here. I'll still be alive somewhere.
But you're going to be here for next week. Yeah,
I am for the night. For next week's recording. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, we'll do Trainspot next week because that'll end it out then.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're gone, I suppose we won't say too much yet.
We're thinking of having guests, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which will take us off of the track of what we've usually been doing, where it's like you pick a movie, you pick a movie, you pick a movie. Instead, if we do get the guests, we're just going to let them pick the movie instead. Because it just makes more sense that if we have somebody on, get them to pick a movie. It takes us out of the cycle.
Absolutely. It gives us a little break, although we'll definitely be making lots of notes and things as well.
Yeah,
because
whoever we do take on, I wouldn't like to put all the pressure on them.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't put all the pressure on the guests. So while we have guests in, Bex and I will still be carrying. I think. Well, I don't know. I mean, we could have some fantastic guests. Maybe
I'm sure they will be absolutely amazing.
Yes,
we'll get on.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And Steve, you'll be away. We'll talk more about this next week, though.
Once we have next week, we'll cover it.
Yeah.
We'll probably, more than likely, hopefully, not again to put pressure on anybody, have the first person either on a 100% yes, and then we can announce them next week. That kind of way.
Yeah.
So we'll get to it when we get to it.
Awesome.
Yapping time.
Yeah, yapping bubbles. What have you guys been up to? What are you going to get up to?
Can I let you guys go first?
Yeah, Steve,
I
feel like I've just been talking for like 2 hours straight. So Steve, you go first.
What have I been up to? I started playing The Forest. Really fun kind of open world survival game.
What is it?
It's you crash land on an island. It's very kind of old, infamous game. A lot of Let's Players did it like on YouTube maybe a couple of years ago. You crash land on an island, your son is missing, and you have to like build yourself like a settlement, and you have to survive against the infinite, everlasting wave of cannibals trying to come in and kill you and eat you and stuff. All while trying to find survivors of the plane wreckage and your son. But I haven't been doing any of that. I've just been focusing on hunting and building a really badass settlement, kind of like my own little Woodbury in the island. With Adita, we're playing it, and it's super fun.
Game.
Is Woodbury from The Walking Dead? Is that
it? Is, yes. It's it's the governor's.
You didn't say Fiddler's Green. You're not building your own little Fiddler's Green.
No. Look, Fiddler's Green. Yeah. No.
Forest is fun. Are you going to play the sequel, The Sons? Yeah.
I'm considering it very much so. But
I've never given that one a go yet.
What else have I been playing? More Resident Evil 6 is always good. Dead Island 2 is still super fun because I've now finished Resident Evil 4, obviously remake, and I finished The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us Part 1, also not The Last of Us 2. That's not on PC, unfortunately. I watched Willy's Wonderland last night.
I think Part 2 is coming to PC.
It will be coming to PC at some point. And you know what?
Yeah.
Willy's Wonderland. I think it was you, Seb, because I was saying that to Anita last night when we were watching it. I said I mentioned that movie to somebody, one of my friends, and they said, "Is that the movie where Nicolas Cage doesn't speak?"
No, and I feel so I said, "Is that the movie where Nicolas Cage does FNAF?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The movie where he doesn't speak, it was Pig we were talking about recently.
He also doesn't speak.
He doesn't talk in Willy's Wonderland.
Does he not? Okay.
No.
He doesn't do much talking in Longlegs either.
No.
What did you think of the movie?
I actually shut my brain off, lads, and I like, not to be just a contrarian, I actually thought it was very fun.
It's dumb fun.
It's dumb fun. It's everything I kind of looked for in FNAF because I didn't want a deep, meaningful story. Like FNAF, right? I'm not a FNAF fan, so I immediately that was probably working up against me for the movie. But I would have liked a little bit less of the seriousness of what we got, and more of the just kind of like the goofy kind of like campy horror aspect of FNAF.
It became more of like a goofy kid show kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Willy's Wonderland is just like, here's Nicolas Cage. He doesn't speak. He drinks a whole lot of soda and he plays pinball and he just fucks these animatronics up. It's exactly what it says.
Oh, it's animatronics and stuff. It is just like FNAF then.
It is basically, and he messes them all up, and he doesn't say a word. It's cheesy. It can't be some of the soundtrack or some of the like scenes are really kind of goofy and fun. But yeah, I was like, yeah, it's good. Perfect palate cleanser, I guess. From like because they don't really make movies like this as much anymore. You know, just ones that you can literally just sit back and just like, I'm just gonna.
They kind of have an 80s vibe to it.
Yeah. There's a lot of like there's kind of like some of the way the lighting and the synth music, neon lighting shots and everything like that I thought it was cool. Not for everybody, so I'm not going to be like, oh, you should go check it out. But if it ever just shows up on and you've got nothing to watch, I would say, yeah, check it out. That's me. That's me.
Sev, what have you been doing?
Okay, so something I'm going to be doing, I just bought a game called Gory Cuddly Carnage, and you play as a cat on a hoverboard, and he's like, you can dress him in like skater gear, and it just looks like a really fun game, you know, like the type you would get back in like 2007, 2008, where you're just like a character doing some cool platforming and stuff, and like just like an action game. Just looks really cool. So I'm going to check that out. I watched the movie Trap for a second time. And I had just as much fun as the first time, and I completely understand why everybody is hating it. I really enjoyed that movie.
I'm looking forward to watching it now.
Yeah, it's on my list for the weekend with the lads.
I don't think you guys will enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it. But
Kid Cudi's in there. That's instantly giving me a prop. I like Kid Cudi, and I heard he's really funny. So I'm ready to see it.
Oh no, don't go into it wanting some Kid Cudi. It's like 2 scenes and it's not.
Yeah, that's enough for me.
Okay. I don't think he's very funny in it either. No, he's literally nothing in it. It's just like he walks in and you're just like, what? There was a movie. Oh God, it's not on this list that I wrote down that I'm going to be watching.
Letterboxd.
I don't know if I could be happy giving. All right,
but you don't need to. Right.
My issue with Letterboxd is that my opinions change so much, and like I would be constantly going back and just changing the
you
stars
don't need
rating.
to give a rating at all, right? Callum uses Letterboxd and he refuses to rate anything as well for the same kind of reason as you, because he doesn't like it and he thinks it changes. All you could do is log it and don't even give it a rating. Just log that you've seen the movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like you don't even need to go, oh, I think it's a this rating or I think it's that. Oh, right.
Yeah. Sorry, we've all completely
watch these movies. You know what I mean?
Cut out here. You cut out. I'm sorry, but I think I got the gist of what you were saying.
You could use it just as an archive of your movie logs, you know, that sort of way, like a little collection if you wanted to, just like to
all right.
like.
Yeah. Maybe I'll start doing that then if I don't have to give ratings.
No, you literally.
I would love to actually be able to do it. I just think I would be so in my head about what rate. Like I'd be constantly changing the ratings.
Yeah, I'm like that, and I am often guilty of it. But eventually, you just like you'll find a solace that you'll be like, right, no, I'm happy with this. I'm going to leave it as it is because I flip flop so much on movies.
Every time you watch a movie, it can get a different rating. You can do that too, but obviously, like by the sounds of it, you don't want to rate at all. You don't need to. I think it'd be just a cool idea for just to set it up and do it just so you have your own.
I was just reading Steve's review of Land of the Dead, and he's like, nostalgia's a crazy thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, so I've remembered, right? The movie I'm going to watch is called Kalki 2898 AD.
Ooh, okay.
And it's, I believe it's an Indian film. And it's apparently Mahabharat meets Dune.
Ooh.
And my my background with my family is like nearly all of my family are Hindu. So, and I love Dune. So I think that sounds like such a cool movie. And I'm always hearing these great stories from the Mahabharat. And I'm like, that'd be so good as an action movie. So yeah, I'll watch that. And I'll tell you guys about that. Yeah. So I'm gonna play Gory Cuddly Carnage. I'm gonna play more Rain World because that's the best game ever. I adore it. Yeah, and I watched Trap again, and I think that's about it. I'm rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's like my favorite sitcom. It's so good. Yeah, that's me. Bex.
I had a fun weekend. I went to see some boxing on Saturday.
Some box. Are you a big sports guy?
Football and fighting usually,
Okay.
but
Ooh.
it's mainly because it was UFC's Misfits, or not UFC, YouTube's Misfits boxing. So like, I grew up watching KSI and all the Sidemen and all of them, and it was all their kind of.
This is the difference between
event.
you just being like 2 years younger than me, where like you watch these guys because I didn't at all. You know what I mean? Oh, we've cut out again. Classic fucking Discord, guys. Well, you guys can listen to my voice instead of Bex's, unfortunately, until we
Discord's coming back.
We've disconnected again.
The minute you start talking, it just went.
I was saying, I was saying how this is the difference between you being a couple of years younger than me, being into those guys, you know, because I never got those at all.
They've just been my things, but like their content's mainly built around like if you liked football before, like when they started, it was like if you liked football, you watched FIFA. These were the 15 fucking years, and it's the first time I've been in the building. Did it cut out?
Are you ever going to be able to tell what you've been up to, dude? It's fucking gone again, guys.
Again? Did it cut again?
It's gone again.
Yeah.
It's gone. Hello?
Fuck's sake, Discord hates me.
You're going to have to talk really fast. Go.
No, that's
but yeah,
not even you.
I've been watching them for like 15 years, and it was the first time being in the building, but everybody was like, this is really cool.
Nice.
It was fun. Irish crowds at everything is just the best.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. So what just happened there was Steve left the call, and then while Steve was out of the call, I heard Bex say but then Steve rejoined the call, and then Bex cut out again. I'm gonna disconnect from the call here and then try reconnect. Is this gonna work? Hello guys, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh god, Bex, when you started talking, your Robbie the Rabbit display picture started freaking out. Oh, now he's.
Is it gone so bad?
Oh, yeah.
What is it gone?
It's in shambles now. Everything is just breaking.
Like every sentence is just cutting out now. What the fuck?
I could see my connection going up and.
Fuck me, I guess. Just fuck me, I guess.
You know, you waited until the end to say. I can't even have a conversation with these guys.
You just said that, and you're cutting out. Discord. I'm very disappointed in you.
I'll just do the accent and pretend to be the pair of you. Okay?
Yeah, just do a freeway conversation with yourself. Yeah, for the outro. Like do all our plugs, Seb, and everything. Thanks. I'm sorry, Beckham. I hope you had a great time, but I'm so sorry we heard very little of that.
Yay.
What
I can hear you guys now. Try again.
Yeah.
Try again.
Okay. What else have we been up to? The casting of Frank Stone comes out today.
Oh yeah, the DVD spin-off game. Could I forget?
Not a single bit.
Well, we know the casting Frank Stone comes out today.
Yeah.
It does. You're gonna be streaming that, right?
Yeah, I'll be playing it today, Tuesday.
Yeah. It's not really a plug because you'll probably be finished by the time.
More than likely. They're not very long.
Yeah.
What else can I get through? Watch Godzilla X Kong the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Bad.
They're bad, but I love just seeing the monkeys and lizards punching each other.
Yeah, I like monkey fight.
It's fine.
Okay, the best scene in that movie is when King Kong picks up Diddy Kong and then slaps a fucking another monkey.
He looks
with
like
him.
Dewey out of Malcolm in the Middle. We kept calling him Dewey Monkey.
Yeah, he picks up Baby Kong and starts using Baby Kong as a weapon, and that is hilarious. Yeah.
Anything to do with humans in those movies is boring as fuck. Just stop putting them in it at this point.
Nah,
if you're gonna keep
because
making them, just make them
Godzilla
fight.
-1 was the best Godzilla movie, and that's all the humans.
But the American ones don't work. The humans are boring.
Western I said that to Anita. I said the West has just bastardized Godzilla. Yeah. That's
I watched Jackpot with Aquafina and John Cena in it.
Aquafina and John Cena.
It's bad. John Cena is literally the only thing you can watch and be like, it's kind of funny.
It looks
John
terrible.
Cena's doing John Cena. It's a cool concept. It's like you win the lotto and then everybody has like a couple of hours to kill you and then they get the lotto.
It's like Battle Royale,
it's cool.
rat race kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Hopefully I don't cut off for this next part because it's the main point of my yapping bubble. I watched the Borderlands movie.
Oh
no. Eli Roth's Borderlands.
Eli Roth's directed Borderlands
Not
movie.
the great movie, which is a found footage horror movie, British found footage horror movie called The Borderlands, which is incredible.
Game adaptation of one of my favorite game series. I think they're really funny and stupid. Like it's just a shoot 'em up looter game and nobody says anything that's anyway funny really, but did I cut? I feel like
yeah. I don't want to jump in because then you might cut out. But if I don't jump in, you think you might have cut. So it's...
okay, right. I'll just go through it, and if I do cut, somebody just say you did cut when I come back. Yeah. I love them. I've enjoyed them for many, many years, and this movie pissed me off. And I went into it knowing this movie was going to be bad. And you, like, how do you go into a movie knowing it's bad and still come out of it pissed off? That's how bad it was. Like,
I just had that with The Acolyte. Yeah.
A trailer or a poster, it's like, nah.
Bex got so pissed. It sounded like somebody just fucking tackled him.
We sat and watched it.
You cut out, man.
Okay, I'm back again. Again. Hello. Hi. But as I was saying, me and Callum, we sat and watched it, and no character is done right. I can't place when in the timeline of the games this is meant to take place. There's moments in this that belong to the games, that belong to a game that is beyond where this would even exist. There's one moment with Lilith where there's a sign on a map that is a big point, but she does it in the movie, but it's already on the map and it doesn't line up, and it's just...
Yeah.
Tiny Tina and Krieg are like watered down versions of their characters. And the entire cast is awful. The entire movie is awful. The plot is awful. Everything in this movie is terrible.
Did you not laugh when Trap shot the bullets out of his bum?
No. And like, again, as somebody that plays the games, and I will laugh at fart jokes in the games, I laugh at a reference that's like 7 years too late in the games because I think, it's a big goof. Not once in this movie did we laugh at something that was in the movie. There's a show. 2D PlayStation model.
Yeah.
And she's flowing in with wings. Like she's got a PlayStation 2 looking CGI body as she flies through, and you see it, and you see it on your screen fully in a big budget movie.
Which character is this? Lilith. Okay.
Yeah, it's fucking awful, man. The entire thing, and again, this and Halloween Ends are probably two movies that have pissed me off the most lately.
Yeah,
it's just fucking bad.
Oh, Halloween Ends is
don't
rough.
go see it. Halloween Ends is one of the only movies that's ever made me want to leave a cinema.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I'm glad I didn't pay money to watch this. Sorry.
For me, it was the latest Indiana Jones 5. I actually left. I was like,
I've still not watched it.
This is so atrocious. Like, you're killing. Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
But that's basically it. Fuck Borderlands. Don't make another movie. Well, they're not going to because you didn't make fucking money because you're idiots.
It's funny when the movie flops and then they're like, but hey, I think Borderlands might be the biggest flop of all time, by the way.
Wow.
Like, I was looking at the budget and I was looking at how much it made, and it's like everybody needs fired. Whoever worked on that, it's crazy how bad. Anyway,
just to leave it at the last point, every single person that worked on this movie, from the directors to cinematographers to everything, I can nearly guarantee nobody sat and played a game or actually looked into anything. They just got an idea from like a montage of funniest moments and goes, "That's what
You
Borderlands
mean
is."
all the guys
I'm gonna
making the
stick it.
decisions? Because the guys doing like the special effects CG work, who are just like working.
Oh, they did a decent enough job, but you know
Yeah,
what? At the end of the day, fuck Eli Roth.
Yeah,
That's who I'm putting it under because I like Hostel, and I've liked the idea of Hostel, but fuck Eli Roth because the minute his name was put on this, and it turned out to be a PG-13 movie, I was like, it's done. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
Such
So
a
fuck
weird
Eli Roth.
choice, right?
Fuck Lionsgate as well. They're on a run of terrible movies, so fuck Lionsgate.
Did they
too.
do The Crow?
Yeah. So fuck Lion.
God, 2024 is some shit ass movies. That is so bad. I feel like we're being sniped by Lionsgate right now.
We're being censored. We're being censored. We know Kino will not be censored. You can't stop us. Our opinions will be heard.
Just a dodgy Discord day.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, dodgy Discord day. Oh, guys. I don't even know if they're here. You guys see it?
On my thing, you went, yeah, but it sounded like with the way it cut out, it sounded like you moaned it. It was like, yeah. I was just like, Seb's really enjoying this.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
What's left? Just plugs then, I guess. We've announced next week's episode.
Let's plug it up, right? We're doing Trainspotting next week. Trainspotting 2, sorry.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Trainspotting 2.
T2 Trainspotting. Is that what
T2.
like Terminator 2 Trainspotting?
It is actually just spoilers. They all come back as Terminators to fight each other to the death.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll watch that new Terminator show that's on Netflix, the
It's meant
animated
to be
one.
really good.
Apparently that's really good.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I watched the entire series of Fresh Meat. If you're into
What'd you
Peep
think?
Show, it's by the same writers. It's real good.
It is funny.
Yeah, it's good. That's yeah.
But yeah, the Trainspotting 2 will be next week.
Bex,
I'm
you're
excited
going
to
to
see
be.
what you guys think.
I'm excited to watch
I'm
it.
excited to watch it because I really enjoyed the first one, and I enjoyed Danny Boyle. And 28 years later is coming out soon.
Can't wait.
So it'll be cool to catch up to what Danny Boyle's capable of right now. You know, in modern
I'm
day.
just excited to see what you guys think. Like, as you've seen the first movie for the first time, to see if you agree that the sequel was actually a cool idea or if they should have left it with the first one.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll enjoy it. Hopefully anybody that listens to it, you'll enjoy the second one. I think personally it holds up, but we'll get more into that.
We will get more into. I just keep giggling because every time it goes quiet, I'm like, dead air, fantastic, yay!
But yeah, thanks for to everybody who has listened to this point and our episodes so far. This is episode number 13 now.
Yeah.
I'm not superstitious, but to say 13 is normally an unlucky number. Well,
the Discord's been pretty shit, but I think we've had a fantastic episode. So yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for taking the time out of your day or listening to us on your commute or whatever. However you're doing it, thank you so much. Rate the podcast 5 stars on Spotify if you're listening there. Give us a like on YouTube or leave us a comment. The comments help us out the most for the algorithm.
we love
you can check us all out on our socials. Bex, where can people find you?
You can see me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Letterboxd, and TikTok. Now I have to hype it up because one of my videos banged yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I put up a movie TikTok and it's got 14k views at the moment.
Ooh.
Absolutely slapped. So
fuck yeah,
I'm gonna start posting more on TikTok and see how I can.
Bex Feet and 7 on there?
I am Bex Feet and 7 on everything other than TikTok. I think there's 2 7s there because somebody had stolen my one. Yeah.
Am I following you? If I press this button, am I going to unfollow? I do follow you, and you are. It's absolutely kicking off that video right there.
Slap, and for no reason because there's no popular movie other than Borderlands in there.
Let me slap a like on that. There we go. That's incredible, Beastin. Yeah,
I knew it as well. And then I finished and nobody responded. I was like, fucking Discord.
We're all just stunned by you going viral. You're basically Jason Creed. I
don't know what happened because there's nothing. Like I said, there's no movie in there that's popular right now. So I don't know what the fuck happened.
Well, sometimes the algorithm just hits, right?
Yeah.
I just actually had a video hit 17.7 thousand views on TikTok. Like,
Big time.
yeah, just a dumbass
Oh.
video, you know? Just again, just the algorithm. See, we're getting excited over this. Imagine Jason Creed in like 2007. 78,000 views on MySpace. Like, that's just crazy. Yeah, you can catch me on TikTok at the Spooky Memes. You can catch me on YouTube at the Spooky Memes, and Twitch at the Spooky Memes. Go check me out. I'm doing Dead by Daylight stuff. I'm talking movies. Yeah, that's me. Steve.
Yeah, Stephen Knievel, Twitch, YouTube, Letterboxd, and I even use Twitter from time to time. All the same handle.
All same handle. We also have the We Know Kino Twitter. You can
We Know Kino
catch us on
Pod.
there. Yeah,
Yep.
We Know
I have
Kino
some
Pod on
cool
Twitter.
ideas for over there over the next few days. So if you do follow it, you might see some cool shit.
Go follow.
I've really.
I think we're just gonna wrap up because the internet is so fucked right now. It's crazy.
Is this even going to let us do a proper outro? Come on,
I
Disco,
don't know.
please.
All right, peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching.
bye.
Laters.